Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back. If you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. I'm so honored to be here sharing this human experience with you all. Please know that your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm honored to be here. Remember that if triggering information comes up in the readings, please don't force it to fit, but also maybe look at that trigger as a sacred blueprint for you to deepen your own healing journey. So with that, we're going to go ahead and start with our shuffle, pick our cards, move to our collective message, and on to the prayer, and thus we will be starting our piles at that point. So if you're just here to pick your pile, great. I'll see you on your reading after this, and then if you're here for the entire intro, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And we're going to start with this inner transformational reading, finding your voice and reclaiming your personal power. The inner transformation that's been happening. The inner transformation that's been happening. We're going to be using the Dragon Path Oracle card today by Caroline Mitchell. Pile 1. Your inner transformation. How you're finding your voice and reclaiming your power. Thank you. Pile number 2. Your inner transformation. How you are finding your voice and reclaiming your personal power. What oracle card is going to help us better understand the message for you? Thank you. All right, pile number 3. Your inner transformation, reclaiming your personal power and finding your voice. What oracle card is going to help us better understand this message? Perfect. Thank you. We're going to take a look at that as a collective message in just a moment. Let me get these set up for you. Now, as I set these up, please know that I do have an astrological dice out with a zodiac on it. It is in no way, shape, or form just for that zodiac. So if you're drawn to it because you do have that zodiac highly aspect in your chart, or that is one of your major 3s, that's perfectly okay. But if not, just know it's just another option to choose from. Okay, perfect. So for pile 1, we do have this beautiful blue dice with the 12th house on it. Or we have this orange carnelian gemstone for the sacral chakra. Pile number 2, we do have this pink dice with Libra on it. Or we have this beautiful blue agate obelisk for you to choose from. Pile 3, we have this green dice with the sun on it. Where we have this beautiful yellow Jasper gemstone for the solar plexus chakra. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. If you're moving on to your pile, I will see you there. And for those of you here for the collective, let's check out what we've got. So we've got Delphine. I feel like just right away, there's been a lot of emotional turmoil lately. You know, she's a water dragon. I believe it's a her, but They are a water dragon, and I just feel like there's been a lot of this feeling not sure of what's actually been happening in your day-to-day and not sure of how to actually process that. And the inner transformation is finding the peace even when the storms are raging, right? And this is how you're finding your voice, and this is how you're claiming your personal power, is by recognizing that you cannot control the storms, but you can choose to remain balanced and in a state of peace, even if those storms are raging outside. And when you find that moment, even if it lasts for 30 seconds, right? It can be just a moment. It can be a constant state that you enter into. It can be fluctuating, and that's okay. Remember, we're not trying to perfect it. We're simply trying to understand it and grasp onto how to enter that so that we have a tool available to us whenever things are seemingly trying to upend us from our groundedness. And so when you find that state, it boosts your confidence and it allows you to come into this place of not only balance, but self-assuredness, where you're no longer being ruled by those old emotions of fear, of guilt, of self-blame, or of feeling like you cannot be who you are, feeling like you have to hide from yourself because you're afraid that people aren't going to accept you. What's been happening all along with those feelings is, while they are your reality and that makes them very, very real, what also happens is under the surface, you're seeing that while they've been my external reality, they're actually mirroring something internally within me that I choose no longer to resonate with, that I choose no longer to believe in. And as you let that go, you begin to realize that your power all along was the choice to accept, believe in, and see yourself through eyes of love and through total radical self-acceptance, which is oftentimes much easier said than done, but a necessary part of our journey as we continue to grow spiritually and as we continue to shed old shadow parts of ourselves and old emotional egos and realigning with our spirit, because our spirit just simply wants to express itself in its wholeness. And that's what's been going on. And so recently, I feel like, especially with all of the astrological phenomena that have been happening, and after Lionsgate, we're walking into, and after a new moon eclipse, we're walking into this energy very transformed, and where once we were super reluctant, now we're embracing the fear and doing it anyways. And that's what this really feels like collectively for you at this moment. So let's see what Delphine has to say from the book. And you are number 14. And that's interesting, because thinking about 14, it automatically draws me to the energy of temperance, which is spiritual balance and integration of both the light and the shadow, right? And so that's exactly what we've been talking about, is finding that balance through the storm. That's our integration of the shadow itself. The storm is the shadow, because the storm is what triggers us, and that's what is basically poking fun at the shadow. But is it really poking fun at the shadow, or has the shadow been trying to make it seem so much bigger than it is because it's rallied by the emotional ego? It says this dragon is the etheric counterpart to the whales and dolphins. The whales are the earth's record keepers, and the dolphins our spiritual ancestors. They carry the blueprint of our spiritual existence here on earth, this wise old dragon of the deep carriers of the same knowledge and understanding within the depths of his being. Delphine has this to say about our journey and the oceans of our planet. The water of earth can cleanse or maim, support or take life. You two are faced with a similar choice. You can choose to heal and be healed, or swim in the riptides. Neither is wrong, only a matter of perspective and choice. You've been faced with arduous situations at times and made some lousy choices too. Remember, you are human, And as humans must, your race makes mistakes and on occasion poor decisions, but that's a part of learning. It is time to forgive yourself and others if necessary. Move on. Delphine asks us to look deeper into our souls and ask, what is your purpose on earth? What is it we must discover about ourselves? Are we healers, ecologists, or even marine biologists? He is very useful to call upon when we feel stuck and unable to go with the flow. His presence acts as a reminder that we would do well to stop struggling and to follow the ebb and flow of life, for that which we resist persists. Your task is to uncover your driving passion and kick-start the job you came here to do. And I feel like this has just been something that we as a collective have been struggling with. We've been moving ever closer to our dreams and our passions, but there's still something that's been keeping us from fully integrating and embracing those passions. Whether that's fear of it being different or being unusual, unique, or in the past having been denied and cast out because of that. And it's realizing that while that may have happened in the past, that's not necessarily going to be our future, because our future is going to be a culmination of our thoughts and our feelings on how we accept and see ourselves. And so if we're seeing ourselves with eyes of love, we then open the door to allowing others to see us with eyes of love, instead of expecting them to see us with eyes of love. And that's the powerful shift. That's the perspective that gets changed, that becomes altered, and forevermore will actually change and alter our lives. And that's what Delphine has come to say. So my apologies, Delphine, for calling you a she. I did not realize you were a he, but we've got that going for you here. All right. So a lot of internal balance for sure is coming out. All right, let's hop to our prayer, and then we will go ahead and get this reading underway for you today. It's the sun. It's supposed to rain, but it's not really. It's been super. We've been under a heat advisory where I'm at. It's been like the 90 degrees, but they're like, it's like 95 outside, but the heat advisory is, it feels like 108. It's been like that for the last few weeks, which is kind of crazy. So it is supposed to rain later today, which I really do hope, because it'll cool down, even though it'll be hot later. But we need the cool down for sure. So the clouds are kind of coming in and going out right now, if you see the shift in the shadows in the camera. All right. My beloved source, this prayer is for any and all who come onto this reading, whether it's for the entire time or for a moment's time. Some of us are struggling to see ourselves with eyes of love, to see ourselves through your eyes. We're wanting to fit in. We're wanting to be accepted. We're wanting to be seen and heard. And we know that what we have is valuable. We know and understand that the information that we've garnered on our journey and gained through our experiences is something that holds value. And while we still see that as valuable, we can still also deny ourselves. We can show up and still ignore ourselves. We can continue to persist, and we can also continue to resist. We are full of all kinds of conundrums. But with that being said, today I ask that you help us to open our hearts, to release and relinquish this control that we have to trying to fit in, and allow ourselves to truly, truly dig into the path for which you set before us. Even if it's something that is not traveled at all, and even if it is something that seemingly goes against the grain, even if it is something that people will judge and they'll ultimately cast us aside because they don't believe in, see, or understand the direction we're headed in. But regardless of how people show up for us in our lives, today I ask that you become the constant, that you become the support, that you become the pillar of strength upon which we can lean on and rely on, and know that even if the whole world casts us aside, we're still loved, lovable, loving, amazing, smart, intelligent people, and we matter in this here now here moment. As these words are spoken onto this reading and upon this collective today, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Ase. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. And I think it's really fitting today because I opened up a new incense and we're using dragon's blood. So with the dragon cards, I felt called to use. I felt like that was another synchronicity that came out. So with that, I will see you over on your chosen piles. Hello, my fellow human. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you're new here, thanks so much for joining us. I'm so honored to be here sharing this human experience with you. And please note that there may be triggering statements that arise on the readings themselves. Please do not force it to fit, but maybe take a look at that friction as a sacred blueprint for you to deepen your own healing journey. So this pile is pile 1 for those of you that felt called to this 12th house dice and maybe called to this beautiful orange carnelian for the sacral chakra. Or if you were there for the shuffle and felt called to this dragon oracle, this is going to be your inner transformation, finding your voice and reclaiming your personal power. So there's been a lot that's been going on, and I feel like especially for you, pile 1, it has had a lot to do with spirituality and embracing the way that you see spirituality. You may feel like you're very much a one of a kind in the way that you approach your spiritual journey, and it's been hard because you're wanting to share your wisdom, but at the same time, the more that you search, the more that you look out there, the less you find of situations, people, lessons, advice, and clarity on the way that you see the world. And it doesn't have to necessarily be spiritual, but it does feel spiritual to me by nature. Which is also indicating that this could truly actually be something that is so integral to you that it really is an expression of soul. So it could be something that is highly, highly mundane and connected to the physical world as well, but it's coming from an incredibly spiritual place within you. It's really what your heart flows into when you're given a sense of freedom to be who you are without fear of rejection and without fear of failure as well as coming in. And I feel like growing up, you maybe had debates with family members or with friends about the way that you witnessed the acting world or the unfurling of the world around you. You recognize some incredibly toxic patterns, and you were calling them out from an early age. You may have Mercury in Aquarius. You may also have Aquarius moon or Aquarius rising, or you could have Uranus in your first house and Leo is coming through. Okay, so that's a really, really powerful energy. But with that energy coming in, it's showing that you have a very clear stance in the way you see the inner mechanisms and the inner workings of how a world to you should be. And there's something very inclusive, integral, and profound to that thought process that you have. And yet at the same time, there has also been such harsh judgments that have come through where people either have shoved you aside or people have made it seem like you are uneducated, that you are ignorant, or that you are living in a daydream type of world, or that you're incapable of actually articulating and intellectualizing, is that the right word here? Oh my goodness, it does not want to come out. intellectually, I don't know why I can't say this word right now, but maybe sometimes you have a stutter, or maybe sometimes you get like your mind works so fast, especially if you have Aquarius or any air placements in your chart. But if you have Mercury in an air sign, your mind is working so fast, like it's at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and sometimes to get it from your mind into your mouth, you may stutter, or you may trip over your tongue, or you may say things backwards and sound silly, even though people seem to understand your point and they recognize that this is just human for the most part. Now you're surrounded by people who recognize that this is a very human thing that you have, where you're experiencing humanity in its finest. But there's been times when you've been super harshly judged for this inability to articulate in a professional manner. And I'm going to use this loosely because I feel like this is such a weird way to judge people, but that's what I feel like you've been judged on, is this, so it doesn't sound professional, and so therefore it can't be true. And this power, this energy is incredibly strong coming in right away. Like, I haven't even picked up the dice because the channeling is coming in. It's so powerful right now. And so I feel like this is just coming in to say, like, this is what's been keeping you from being able to find your voice. It's not that you don't know your voice. It's just struggling beyond that fear of judgment. So an example again would be like, if you have a stutter, like people think that, like, there's a stigma against people who have a stutter, right? Like, oh, if you stutter, you're not smart. And that's such a like, it irritates me, because they're looking at the is it an impediment? They're looking at the impediment as an immediate label to you not being capable, and that's such a weird way to look at it. Another thing that's coming through is maybe you're on the spectrum and you have autism, and thus you already communicate differently, but that does not make you incapable by any means. And so there's something here where people are seeing it as a stigma rather than as just a way of life. And I feel like for you, embracing it as just a way of life has been one of the biggest challenges, but that's also brought about some of the most profound internal transformations for you, is the road to acceptance, right? This is, I keep hearing the road to El Dorado. That's what I hear. It's like, this is your golden city, is this acceptance of whatever this is within you. Whether that's just not being able to talk the same as other people, or if you have a really thick accent, maybe, you know, it's like, I feel like whatever this is, it's not something that you can necessarily eradicate, but it is something that you can integrate in an incredibly beautiful way. And that's where that inner transformation comes. And I feel like you've been doing that ever since Lionsgate, or ever since, if you're watching this at a completely different time, there's been some sort of transformation that's happened among the stars that has definitely kind of given you that boost forward. Or it's just time for things to start moving forward on their own, and you've reached that. So let's find out some more here for pile one, source. Their inner transformation, finding their voice and reclaiming their personal power for pile one. What would you like to share with us today? Yeah, the 10th house, Taurus energy, and the moon. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of deep emotions in regards to this. And the thing is that you've worked incredibly hard, pile one. You've put a lot of time, energy, and effort into learning what you've learned, to knowing the things that you know, and to understanding the process of your own journey and your own life, right? So it's like, if this is the way you see things and it's a spiritual sense, right? You've studied so much spirituality that you can literally mold the information that you've got to the belief systems that you have. Like, you see outside of those systems, you see outside of those baseline ideas, and you're able to make it much, much bigger. Okay, and if it's a a job, or if it's a type of skill that you've poured into, the same thing. It's like you've learned every aspect, or you're learning every aspect of it, right? I don't know if we can ever truly learn all aspects of everything out there. Even our passions are so massive, but you've definitely put in the time. And through that consistency, that determination, and that discipline, you have become a self-master, and you've mastered this passion. And that's where, when letting go of that past fear, that guilt, that blame, that hurt, and that shame that's there, you'll step into a more empowered version of yourself. But not just this empowered version of yourself. You're going to step into this reality of seeing that you've deserved abundance all along, and that you've deserved to be seen, and that you're incredibly magnetic, and that there are people who are looking for your guidance, for your wisdom, for your knowledge, for your information. There are people who've been waiting for you to say something, because there are people who see the world the way that you do. And while no one sees the world exactly the way we do, because our perspectives slightly varied, as for as many people as there are alive, but they see the path upon which you're walking, and they say, thank goodness someone sees that path too. And I feel like when you're able to empower yourself to recognize that you have value, and see that in this moment, that what information you have matters, that is enough to skyrocket you into a level that you've only been dreaming about for a long time. And it helps you to let go of all that past hurt, and then also to see that past hurt as a part of the journey, as a part of the struggle to self-mastery, but also maybe mirroring a father wound here, where maybe it was a father or a father-like figure in your life who was incredibly distant or difficult or really tough on you, and was really forceful when it came to this inability, or this struggle that you had to articulate what it was that you were thinking about, or what it was that you saw. Or they were really tough on you because you did it in such a way that it went over their heads, and they didn't like feeling like they were dumb, and so they made you feel like you were dumb, because they didn't want to take accountability for the fact that they just didn't understand where you were coming from. And so it's easier to project onto others. Not that it's right. This is not giving an excuse to the way that they treated you. It's just coming through that the reason that they treated you that way was because they didn't want to be seen as dumb. And especially if this was a guardian, or someone who held a guardian relationship in your life, so they were a parent to the child, they felt like they had to know everything in order to be validated. And to say I don't know is I feel like something that's incredibly difficult for this person. So this could be a Capricorn, a Taurus, a Virgo you're dealing with. Also somebody that might have Taurus moon here, or Taurus in the 10th house. Also your moon may be in the 10th house as well. So these are coming up through this energy also. So let's get some tarot on it. And I forgot to mention, we do the dice, we move to tarot, and then we get some additional advice from the oracle cards. So we're going to continue with that pattern. That's the way I do readings if you're new here. Yeah, this is someone who tried to make you believe in some sort of disillusion, or some sort of disconnection, and they didn't want you to have those solid emotional boundaries, because they knew that you had something super valuable. And so if they could convince you to sabotage yourself, then you would do the work for them, and they would just have to continue to maintain that. But I feel like you're moving away from this person who's incredibly immature and who's incredibly disconnected, and you're finally recognizing that all this hard work that you've put in, you've planted some incredible seeds, and that all along, regardless of how those people showed up, that now it's time for you to choose yourself. And that's something that's coming in incredibly strong right now. So Source, what else would you like to tell pile number 1? This massive inner transformation, finding your voice and reclaiming your power. Messages for pile number 1, Source. What more would you like to say? Whoa. Let's not burn the cards. All right. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Magician in the reverse. See, this is that energy that I was saying, like something that was guiding you for a long time was this Magician energy. People who were trying to trick you into not believing that you could, right? Because there was a point in time when you believed that everything was possible. There's a point in time when you're like, oh, this is such a good idea. You didn't think about who was going to accept it, who wasn't going to accept it. But then there was people who stepped in and said, oh, no, 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 no. You can't believe things like that. You can't look at the world that way. That's absolutely wrong. But there is no right or wrong. There's only what's right or wrong for you. And this created a lot of twists and turns for you, but it also did lead you to finding emotional maturity along the way, even though it was incredibly challenging. This was an incredibly challenging journey, and no, you did not deserve to go through it. But if you can open up to seeing the truth in that it has brought you into a deeper understanding of yourself, and knowing that your wisdom is something that people are seeking, rather than somebody who's scared of your potential, right? They're scared. And I say scared here, it could have been jealousy, it could have been wanting to oppress you, it could have been wanting to control you, it could have been anything. But regardless, if we strip away all of those labels, it comes down to fear. And so there was a fear of comparison here, it feels like. Yeah, again, a father energy with the Pope in the reverse. 2 of Cups, somebody you deeply loved. Okay, and the 10 of Cups in the reverse. So the catalyst here was someone who was trying to convince you that their way of life was the only way of life. Okay, that was the catalyst to everything, to shutting you down, to helping you to step into a place of power again. I feel like stepping into power is where you're like at this precipice right now. And that's what finding your voice is, right? It's stepping over the threshold. And you're at this precipice right now where it's like, I want to. I feel stifled not being who I am. I feel stifled trying to fit into everybody else's version of who they think I should be. And through that, you're recognizing that it's time for me to move on. But what actually caused this is the father wound with the Pope here. It does look like it's mirroring the father wound. And again, it doesn't have to be your direct father. It's just somebody who had a masculine energy in your life. They could have been any zodiac sign, but especially an air or a fire sign. But this could have also been somebody who you greatly looked up to. So like a teacher, mentor, someone who was assisting you through some hard times, someone who had wisdom to share or who thought they had wisdom to share and you didn't see it the way that they did. And so they were trying to crack down on making you see that their way was the only way. And they didn't succeed, but they did succeed in making you feel like you didn't know, or like you were powerless to share what you knew. And at the same time, what was driving that was love of this person. You know, the 2 of Cups, it can be romantic love. This could have been a romantic partner who mirrored the father wound to you and just greatly oppressed you throughout your relationship with them, and you've had to free yourself. But it also shows that this is somebody that you loved. I mean, if this was a father, or if this was a mother, or if it was an auntie, an uncle, a cousin, a brother, a sister, a grandma, a grandpa, or a teacher, mentor that you loved. You felt like, I really love this person. Like, I care about them. And I want them to care about me the way that I see them. Like, you have been the embodiment of love in this connection. And yet, no matter what, every time you showed up, you were getting shut out, getting the silent treatment, getting shut down. And finding your voice has also brought with it them falling from grace. So whatever pedestal that you had them up on, pile 1, that's cracking and crumbling, and they cannot maintain that hierarchy anymore with you. They cannot, because you're seeing their tricks, you're seeing their lies, you're seeing their games for what they are. And yes, it's okay that you love this person. I am never going to be the reader that's saying like, how dare you love this person when they treated you like that? Because honestly, pile one, it is the people that we love the most that are the ones that hurt us the hardest. And that's why it's so difficult, because I've been through that time and time again in my own life. And I cannot sit here and ever say that to you. You had a right to love this person. It was something that you had to experience on your own. But through that, you've learned that when you step back and you trust yourself, right? When you trust yourself and trust your own emotions and trust your own wisdom for what you have to offer, then you can let everything else fall apart. So it either falls apart so that it can vibrate with you, or it falls apart so that it can vibrate out, right? So let's get some more advice here from the tarot. I'm just going to get a couple more here for you, but how has this helped pile number one embrace their personal power? Seems like finding their voice, it's like you've been sitting back and that's what's been helping you find your voice. But what about this situation shifted so that you could embrace your personal power? What will be shifting so that you can embrace your personal power? Pile one. What did or what will be shifting so that they embrace their personal power? I love this. So really quickly, I just want to mention that you could resonate with the collective message that I did at the beginning, which you will find timestamped down below. Reason being is because the number 14 card came out and I was talking about temperance, and we have temperance here with integration. And then we also have the King of Swords with control. So again, somebody that was very masculine energy. And remember that women can be in masculine energy as well. They can absolutely be in a toxic place of masculine energy. So it's just someone who is incredibly controlling, incredibly domineering, who felt like their word had to have been the final word. No one knew better than they know. No one could say anything against them. And if they did, this is somebody who took up, look at this card. They're taking up almost the entire card. Right? It's like this is someone who made themselves bigger when anybody disagreed with them just so that they could intimidate and get their way. But see, the thing is that they know, and they've known all along, that you had something that they did not. And that was a wisdom that was gifted to you at birth. And they cannot understand why they cannot diminish it. And it's because it's something that's integral to your soul. And with temperance here, we see that you've finally seen the pattern. Like if we hold it like this, you're looking down on them, recognizing like, I don't have to play these games any longer. I can recognize that I loved you, and I loved you because that was what the situation was, but I don't have to continue to put up with your control tactics. I don't have to put up with your energy any longer. I don't have to put myself through this any longer. And so you're integrating both the shadow and the light here and freeing yourself and finding a new sense of balance. This is recognizing whatever toxicity you were going through and bringing balance to that toxic side, whether that was masculine or feminine. And in this reading, it does feel like it's pointing towards masculine, but remember, it could absolutely be the toxic feminine as well. But whomever this was, the cycle was control. And I feel like that was the ancestral cycle that kept coming through between you and this person. And they were trying to pass that burden onto you. And while they succeeded for a little while, that has now been something that you've let go of and you've integrated on your own journey. And you're finding peace with. And it scares them because now they're falling from grace. You might notice and recognize things that they're experiencing themselves and that they're having to go through. And that's just confirmation that they're no longer in control of you, because they've been piggybacking off of your energy. And so when they were piggybacking off of you, things seemed to go right for them. And it's because like they're like ciphering your good luck. And I know that's a weird way to put it, but that's the only way that I can explain this energy, is like, because no one can steal our luck, but when we give our good energy to someone, we bring that luck to them. And they benefit from it, okay? And so it looks like they're siphoning our luck, but it's really just that we've given that luck to them. Okay, Okay, on the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Wands with playfulness. Yeah, this was someone who is incredibly vicious, but also someone who took away that sense of your inner child and your ability to have a good time. I feel like being with this energy or this person or around this situation had disconnected you from your sense of pleasure in life. And you even chose the Carnelian, which talks about our sacral chakra. This is my right to feel. And also the center, where play, pleasure, and fun take up our lives, right? Like that's where if we let play and pleasure become a part of our lives, what would that look like? And that's the sacral chakra, right? It's a divine feminine allowing us to enjoy the finer things in life, but also to enjoy the small things in life that brought us pleasure as children. And so, yeah, this is the change with the Wheel of Fortune. So the wheel is shifting now because you're pulling back your energy. This is you integrating your personal power now into your own well-being, into your own journey, into your own sense of self. And when you do that and you draw your energy away from this Pope in the reverse, whatever this is or whomever this is, right? You're giving your luck back to yourself. The Wheel of Fortune, ruled by Jupiter, connected to both Pisces and Sagittarius energy. But at the center here, we do have the yin and yang symbol. And here in the Temperance, we see you holding it in your hands. So what is turning the wheel right now is finding this balance between the masculine and feminine, but also finding the balance within yourself to trust yourself. That's where the deep inner work has allowed you, or is allowing you, to truly relinquish the fact that you loved this person or loved this situation so much. It held a special part in your heart, and there was a part of you that was forever hopeful that you could say something, do something, bring enough wisdom to them to see that you were lovable, or that you are lovable, or that you just wanted to be loved by them. And nothing ever did. And at some point you had to let go of that unyielding hope that they were going to change. Sometimes we have to let that go because our inner child is ignorantly hopeful, which is actually a really beautiful thing. But sometimes that is the very thing that gets us into so much trouble and creates so much burden for us. Yeah, so we have clinging to the past. There's something here with the Five of Cups. Talks about like going and connecting with people who are like-minded to you. So connecting with spiritual forums, or connecting with groups that do the same thing that you are doing, whatever it is. It's connecting with those people who are on a similar path to you. Whether that is the path of finances, the path of hard work, the path of building something, the path of spirituality, the path of languages, the path of music, the path of art, the path of creativity, the path of whatever. Insert your path here. Connect with more people who do those same things, and it will help you to let go of the chaos that has been the past in your life. The chaos that has created so much dissonance between you and yourself, okay? Because holding on to this person you love so much, and again, there's no blame here for loving them. There's no, and I feel like this whole thing of like, well, you shouldn't love toxic mothers, or you shouldn't love toxic fathers, or you shouldn't love toxic siblings. At some point, while we might have seen the toxicity as children, many of us as empaths, it's nearly impossible for us to step away from that love, even when we become aware of their toxic patterns, because there's a part of our internal child that said they are always capable of fulfilling the role that I need them to fill if they just see their own potential, right? And the inner child holds on to that. And so I feel like us being in this place of like, how could I have loved them? Rather just saying like, you know what? I've loved them to the best of my ability. But I recognize that I cannot continue putting myself in hurtful situations for hope that they'll change when they have shown me hundreds, thousands, and maybe even more times that they are incapable of making a choice to change for themselves. So instead, I'll continue to love them but I will love them from a distance, and I will wish them well, and I will let them figure it out on their own and carry their own burdens, because I cannot carry it any longer. You carried it for a long, long, long time. And that's why I feel like not being able to articulate or not being able to say what it is that you want, it comes from this fear that was built on the shoulders of this person or this situation, where they'd give you a little, but then they would take a lot from you. And not just in the sense of breadcrumbing. It's like they would give a little slack on the way that they were treating you just so that they could cut you down and you'd fall even harder, right? That is not breadcrumbing. That is a whole lot of toxic manipulation. And that is something that's super confusing, especially to someone who's been in a situation like this since childhood. And so please give yourself some grace and don't beat yourself up if it's been a challenge for you to accept yourself, or to accept your wisdom, or to accept the path that you want to go on. It's because you're still fighting from all that chaos that you had to experience as a child. And letting it go is literally unwinding the most tangled ball of yarn that we don't even understand. How does one piece of string become so tangled on itself? It's one string from start to finish, but it still gets tangled up on itself. That's how much sense these emotions make. It doesn't make sense, but it becomes this huge mess. Or like Christmas lights, right? Like they become so tangled and you're like, what the heck? Like, I know I rolled these up and I put them in the box all nice and neat, and a year goes by and the box hasn't moved, but somehow the minute I pull them out, they become so tangled. And that's the thing. And it's like, that's what our lives are. It's these tangled messes of emotions that from start to finish, it's one thing: love. It's one thing. That's it. That's all we're asking for, is one thing: love. But how is it that love becomes this huge tangled mess? And it's because there's their fear, there's their projections, there's all these things. But as the child, you're only seeing it as that one thing: love. Am I really so difficult to love? Am I really so challenging to see? And no, you're not, Pile 1. You never have been. But sometimes we ask for love from the wrong people. And that is not a reflection of us. It's a reflection of the situation. We can say it's a reflection of them, but they're equally unknowing in this situation. And sometimes we can't choose the people we love. But we can choose to make better choices for ourselves moving forward and recognize those patterns so that we don't continue to fall into them hopelessly, right? Hopelessly over romanticizing it, hopelessly falling for that hope of potential, right? Yeah, Mars energy. Move forward and defend self. It's time for you to defend yourself. It's time for you to pick up your pieces and get out of Dodge, whatever that means to you. If that's pulling back all your energy, if that's setting up some solid boundaries, if that's leaving, if it's all of the above, a mixture of the above, or even other things that you recognize you need to do. But that's how you integrate your personal power, is by recognizing that you have a right to be seen without judgment. And if people are judging you, then that is information that they're not for you. Cat Joker, it's time to take action. You are in urgent need of structure, order, and clarity. So there's 3 Cat Jokers in this. This is a dragon deck, right? Oh my gosh. And you got 2 of them right next to each other. The time for action has come. You will receive all only by being prepared to give all. So giving all to yourself is the magic. That's where you find your prosperity. But this is actually a dragon deck. Okay. So there's 3 Cat Jokers and you got 2 of them. That's a wild. That is wild. What else would you like to tell Pile 1? Okay, you're going to get those 2. Stay grounded. Yeah, and this makes total sense because we can lose ourselves in situations like this. You know, we can lose ourselves to our thoughts, our mind, and that ungrounds us and it gives us that energy of chaos, the monkey mind running rampant. And also we can lose ourselves because we just go into the spiritual protective shield, right? Where we're saying, oh, I'm just going to sit in meditation all the time and I'm not going to approach the situation and hope that it unkinks itself, But it's not. We still have to show up. We still have to play a part for that journey. And so it's important for you to stay grounded so that you can stay empowered moving forward. And know that you always have a choice, right? You don't have to just put up with something. You can walk away. You can gray rock. You can say no. You can set boundaries. You can do what is going to be the best thing for you moving forward. And it's going to be vastly different for each one of you. But if you sit and listen to your intuition, it's going to tell you what that is. Maybe it's pouring more into your creative self, connecting with different people, finding a community that lifts you up the way that you lift other people up, right? They're simple steps, but just because they're simple doesn't always make it easy. Wow. We've got the whale and orca elders. Share your song, frequency of sound, and deep diving, or diving deep. So I'm just going to point out one more time, if you feel called to, you are definitely going to get additional messages from the collective message that we got, because we got the dragon of the whales and dolphins of the world. So that is a super synchronistic here, but this is sharing your song, your frequency of sound. People are looking for your frequency, and you just haven't been privy to those people yet, or there hasn't been a multitude of them yet. And they are there. They're waiting for you to share your truth. Because when you choose to share your truth, it gives them the courage to share their truth as well. And that changes the frequency of the world. And it also shows these bully type energies that they're not going to win. They're not going to win at stifling you. They're not going to win at making you feel small anymore. They're just not going to win anymore. Right? Think about it as a child. Like if you saw someone getting bullied, would you sit by and watch, or would you step in and stand up for that child? And depending on your answer, that's exactly what matters to your inner child. Are you going to sit back and let that person bully you? Well, sometimes we do that to ourselves. We step back and we let our emotional ego bully our inner child. But then for those of us that want to stand up for that child, right? We're like, no, I would stand up for that child. Then that's what our inner child is asking for, is for you to stand up to the inner bully and to stand up to the outer bullies as well, right? You never deserved that. Watch your words with Oma. And this is just saying, like, don't cast pearls before swine. Like, I feel like that's such a powerful line. It's just a powerful statement. You've been doing that up until now. And again, no beef, no blame. Right? That's not what we're here for. But sometimes we have to be made aware of the fact that we've given so much wisdom away to the wrong people. I am guilty of this too, Pile One. I'm so guilty of this. I had people that I've loved so much in my life, and I was like, if you just open your ears to hearing what I'm saying, like, your life could be transformed. And I would talk until I was blue in the face, and they would just say all kinds of mean things to me, or they would ignore me, or give me the silent treatment, or cut me off by pulling up their phone and looking on their phone, and just all these things. Sometimes our silence is the most powerful thing that we can do. When we recognize that people don't want to hear what we have to say, those people aren't for us. But it doesn't make what we have to say less valuable. It just means that we're putting it before the wrong people. Right? We have gold. We have gold in our hearts, and we have gold in our voices. But sometimes we're putting that gold in our heart and our gold in our voices before people who only treat it like coal, and they dust it away or they kick it away. That doesn't make it less valuable just because they don't know the worth. So it's remembering your own value, your own worth here. And don't give your information away to people who don't care, or who have already shown you that they don't have a care in their heart. That's on them. It's not on you. Right? And I know sometimes it's hard coming back to that Two of Cups, you know, like, especially when we love somebody so much, we want them to change because we want them to have a better life. But their change is on them. That's not our business. Learn from the past. Look, we have clinging to the past and learn from the past. So this is definitely a childhood wound that has been rearing its ugly head lately. And it's just, and I crack up because it's like, it's something that's always been there, but it's like front and center right now, and it's scary when it's front and center. It's overwhelming when it's front and center, but as it's front and center, being in the conscious mind, you have the power and the capacity to face it right now. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here front and center. An elephant never forgets. They're incredible animals. They're gentle, they're kind, they're sweet, but I'll tell you what, let me tell you the story of an elephant named Mary. I read this in a bathroom reader like years and years ago. Like, it's gotta be more than 20 years ago, seriously. But I read this story about this elephant named Mary, and she was a circus elephant, and she did performances, and she was so smart, and she did such an amazing job, but her handler was vicious and cruel and would beat her silly with a whip, and she just let it happen for a while, right? But one day he beat her too many times and she snapped, and when she snapped, she ended up, like, I'm trying to be gentle with this story, but it's not a gentle story, so I'm just gonna say it's a trigger warning while I move forward, because it gets really crazy after this point. So she snaps, right? She attacks her handler, she kills him, right? And please understand, what's about to come next is a super trigger warning, especially with animals. So like, if you just skip ahead a couple of minutes, all right? When I move away this card, then you can watch the video if you get triggered very easily with this, okay? But the story is, and I do too, but I'm glad that I read it because it was really profound. At our misunderstandings at animals and thinking that they don't have feelings and thinking that they don't remember the things that we put them through. But what happened is that she snapped, she killed her handler, and they had to go to trial for her. And the trial was to determine what to do with her, because she's now killed a person. Like, she's going to do it again. That was their biggest fear. And PETA showed up, and they were like trying to say like, no, let's take her to a sanctuary. Let's set her free. Let's let her, and they're like, we can't. She's always lived in captivity. Like, that's just not going to work. She's not going to survive. And they're like, yeah, but at least in a sanctuary, she's still going to have people watching out for her. And they're like, that's the problem. We're afraid that she's going to, snap again. And PETA was like, well, she only snapped because this guy was being vicious to her. And they ended up sentencing her to death. And the way that they did that was, at the end, I'm really uncomfortable saying this because I know that people are really sensitive about animals, and I completely understand. But sometimes we have to listen to certain situations because it shows us that we're ignorant to, as a people, we're ignorant to our actions and what they entail. And so instead of using a simple method on her, this was back in like the 1920s. They're like, how do we kill this massive animal, right? They sentenced her to death, and they're like, how do we kill this massive? Instead of being humane about it with like a tranquilizer and, moving forward, like maybe with horses or something like that, they decided to death by hanging. And the only thing that they had that was large enough to hang her from was a crane. And they hung her up, and the ropes were not strong enough to carry her. It broke. She fell. She broke her back legs. They did it again. She fell. Her completely injured her again on top of that. Like, she's going through all this misery for this. And no one's thinking, just pull out a gun and end it. Like, just be kind to the animal. So this animal went through something absolutely atrocious. Right, and they did it. They figured out how to get her to stay in the air. It was just absolutely torturous. I read the whole story, and I put the book down and I sat there for like 20 minutes and was like, what on earth would compel people to come up with this idea? Right? Like, where along the way are we saying this massive animal, this is the way to go about it, instead of just being humane about it, right? Which, I mean, I guess that's subjective too, but it's that same thing. Like, she'd already been subjected to so much torture and so much hurt and so much pain by her handler. She finally figured out a way to save herself, only to go through even more torture by the people who could have given her an opportunity, right? And I feel like that's just symbolic to the sense of being betrayed along your journey. Like people who were supposed to help you just hurt you even more. Like people who had an opportunity to help things end easily could have moved it forward a lot faster, but it didn't, right? It just put you through even more suffering. And so that trauma is a scar that gets scarred again, that gets scarred again, that gets scarred again. And us looking into our trauma is literally us cutting out that tissue. It's us cutting off the scar to get down to the root of the problem. And that's a very uncomfortable situation. But it's like, how do I trust people? Right? In the instance with Mary, how do I trust people when the people as a whole have disappointed me? So how can I trust that there's going to be people out there who see my value and worth when people as a whole have disappointed, hurt, and betrayed me? And that's the fear that you're facing, and that's the fear that you're overcoming right now. And that's why clinging to the past is helping you. It's like learning from the past, recognizing that now you have all the tools necessary to move from that. And I love that this card came out, the Liberator, right? You're freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. So, right, you're freeing yourself from the oppressors. That's what you're doing. And by freeing yourself, whether you realize it or not, Pile 1, you're freeing others. So by you finding your voice and claiming your personal power, you actually give others who've wanted a way to do this for themselves, you give them the courage to do that. And you don't even have to know them. You may never even meet them. It's about your vibration. That vibration sends a ripple out into the universe. And people who would have otherwise never found their truth, find their truth because you found yours, right? The shadow is inspiring your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints. Yeah, so I feel like you're letting go of these people who recognize that they don't have tyrannical control over you any longer like they did. The King of Swords here energies, some people who use tactical intimidation to manipulate you into what they want. The Rebel, yes. And I was saying that at the beginning, wasn't I? That you may have Aquarius in your chart, and Aquarius is the rebel of the zodiac. Challenges authority to affect social change, rejects spiritual systems that do not serve inner needs. So again, seeing things from a different place. The shadow is rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. So you're seeing the spiritual systems, you're seeing life systems, you're seeing authoritarian systems as something that's not working. And you have something to say that is of value, but you're afraid to say it because of what has happened to you in the past. I mean, how many times are you supposed to go through getting beat down before you finally just give up, right? And that's the thing. It's like we may be beat down our entire lives, Pile 1, and I wish I could say that we wouldn't. We may be beat down by everybody that we ever come across in our lives, but the only thing that matters is being true to ourselves. And that can be increasingly hard when we're constantly getting judgment from the outside world or ridicule from the outside world, right? House 1, exactly. Individuality, self-image, and your approach to life. How you see yourself is everything right now. Because the more comfortable you become in your skin, the easier it will be for Source to bring in your tribe, the people who see you. We have Ormakayandub with the time has come for divine insight. Accept the darkness within you along with the light and follow the path towards wholeness. Integration. Integration here. So that's the thing, like you're integrating the good with the bad. And that's why I feel like I had to share that story with you. If you did listen to that story, like I feel like that's the thing. It's like we have to integrate and understand our past. Right? That's a terrible history to have in the past for humans and for animal owners, right? That's a terrible history to have. But if we don't look at those parts of our history and of ourselves, how can we ever make better choices moving forward? We'll continue to have these repeat chaotic cycles unfold. That's why they say history repeats itself. Well, history wouldn't repeat itself if we actually studied and learned from our history. Fire, do it with passion. Yeah, there's something you're super passionate about. You're driven by it. Opposition, make compromises. there's always going to be that power tension here, that point of tension and that power struggle for what you have. Why? Because people they don't like it when things change. They don't like people who bring change with them, the rebels, right? Being rebellious is scary. No matter what era you're born in, it's still scary because it brings change and you elicit new ideas and you elicit new foundations. And so people are naturally going to fight against that because they want to stay complacent in their old ideals. That's what they're comfortable with. But you're not comfortable with those ideals. So you being comfortable in expressing yourself is when you truly begin to create a sanctuary around yourself. The void. How can you be comfortable with the void? Stop, embrace winter and the great cosmic wound. And I was just saying that, how you can create a safety. I don't even know what I just said. Did I say a womb around yourself? What did I say right now? Oh my gosh, it's gone. It's over. Well, I guess it was just really synchronistic with the void anyways. But it's like you create that safe space for you and you become comfortable in your own skin so that you can move forward. But there's also a lot of shadow here, right? This is the shadow that's been taking control of your life for a long time. And now facing that and recognizing that you are not what those people said that you were. You're something much bigger, much more, much profound, much more multifaceted. And when you can embrace that and recognize that you're lovable and enough and that you matter right now, good things will start to happen for you. Look at this. We've got Merlin, cosmic knowledge. I cannot make this up. The channel that came through in the beginning was absolutely profound. It was just talking about that wisdom and that knowledge that you have. You see things from a completely different place. And it's incredibly profound and powerful. And it's something that has the ability to change vibrations among the world and among the collective. So naturally there's going to be pushback. But you still have to keep moving forward because you were designed for that. You were designed to shoulder a lot while also to let it roll off your backs. Like if there's one zodiac that can let anything roll off their back, it's Aquarius. They just don't give a gosh darn who what people think of them. They'd rather be authentic to themselves and be weird and different and unorthodox than to try to fit in with the masses. It just goes against them. That's why they're known as the trendsetters. That's why they're known as the people who stand out, the rebels, right? So right now it's about embracing that energy, and that's how you find your voice and your personal power. Look at that. Claim your independence. This has been oppressive for a long time, but your stability comes from trusting and being an independent soul, trusting that you know the direction that's set before you, okay? Trusting that you have everything that you need. This is your ultimate transformation, your ultimate inner transformation. So let's take a look at this card. I'm going to read it from the book for you. We have platinum, spiritual alignment, right? This is like internal alignment. So not only is it transformation, it's internal alignment, the number 29. Such a beautiful dragon, platinum is. Look at this. I love this. It says, this incredible being is the guardian of the Atlantean temples. He is the historian and the record keeper. No wonder they wanted me to share that story with you, even though I felt uncomfortable doing so, right? Like it is uncomfortable. But again, the history that we as a people have gone through, and that's something that tarnishes our entirety, our collective. Because it's people who made that choice. But it doesn't mean that we can't redeem ourselves from that. We can absolutely redeem ourselves. It says, he is the historian and the record keeper of all events during the Atlantean era. He has the capability of taking you to and bestowing upon you the magic encased in that time. His message is this: I am the keeper of secrets, that which is as ancient as the world itself, and I am here to impart this ancient knowledge to you, for you to use for yourself and others. This is your role. It has been hidden for eons and forgotten by many. Now is the time for these memories to resurface and ancient knowledge to be imparted to you. Like many things, these secrets have been hidden in plain view. All you need to do is ask to be reconnected to it. Platinum Dragon requests that you connect with him during meditation, and he will guide you towards that which you need to learn and recall. He brings in the full alignment of the new chakra energy and tells me they are changing color. His job is to align you to your full healing potential in whatever form that may take, to align your body's light matrix to that of the galaxy and the earth. His role is to connect you more deeply to you and to clear all the lower vibrations from your physical and spiritual body. So you've been through it and you've experienced a lot. You have your own history, and that experience amounts to something. But at the same time, you also hold knowledge to the history of the inner workings of the world that is asking to be expressed. And so finding your voice and allowing this inner transformation to take you while being comfortable in your skin is going to be the next beautiful step that you can take on this journey. You didn't deserve all those hard times that you had to go through. But I will say this, the world is needing your knowledge, Pile 1, because you bring with it the vibration of true change. And that's such a blessing, even if at times it has felt like a curse. Okay, remember you matter. Please remember you matter. And please remember you are valuable as you are right now in this moment. And you deserve to let your voice be heard. And you deserve to feel empowered by your own voice and your own truth. Okay? So this is what I see here for you today. If you felt like this was your reading, leave the cat emoji down below, because you not only got cat spirit, but you got both the cat jokers here. So, and say, today I let go and I step into my intuition, my independence, and I speak my truth so that I may empower myself to empower the world. All right? With that, if this message spoke to your soul, please like. You're welcome to share your story in the comments if you would like to, and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can check out all the links in the description box below. I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly powerful message today, Pile 1. And until next time, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this pink dice with Libra on it, or perhaps you felt called to this blue agate obelisk, or maybe you were called to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on your inner transformation, or the ultimate inner transformation, finding your voice and reclaiming your personal power. I'm so honored to be here sharing this human experience with you. If you're new here, welcome. And please know that your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm deeply honored to be here sharing them with you today. And there may be triggering statements that arise on the readings themselves. Please don't force it to fit, but also maybe view that friction as a beautiful blueprint to deepen your own healing journey. With that, let's go ahead and get started. I don't have any channel messages coming in for you right away. Pile number 2, Pile 1 got a huge channel message right off the bat. So yeah, let's just get into it and see what comes through for you today, okay, Pile 2? So your ultimate inner transformation, Source, what would you like to share with Pile number 2? Your ultimate inner transformation. Okay, so we've got Cancer energy, we've got Mars, and we've got the 3rd house. Okay. This is letting go. I feel like the biggest transformation that you've done recently, or that you're about to do, is letting go of something that's been incredibly hard for you to let go of. And I'm going to mention it because it does come up with the 3rd house on my readings, is that this could be a twin flame or a labeled soul connection that you're finally letting go of, and just letting it be whatever it's going to be instead of trying to force it, okay? And I know not everybody looks at it that way, and so please just, again, take what resonates, leave what does not. But I just want to mention that this does feel like something that you're letting go of, and that you're finally choosing yourself. And I feel like that's been an increasingly hard thing to do for you along your journey, because you felt like you owed somebody something here, or you felt like it was your responsibility, like they were your responsibility, their healing journey, their journey of truth, their self-discovery, their spiritual self-discovery, whatever it was, there's this feeling of you were burdening that yourself. And part of that came from when you were a child. Third house placements are very powerful at this time for you, pile 2. You could have Cancer in the third house. You could have Mars in Cancer in the third house. You could have your Sun in the third house. Okay, that's it that's coming through right now. But something here had altered the way that you perceived responsibilities when it came to connections in your life. And that's where you were unable to have your voice. Like, everything you did, everything that you said has always been at, the word that came through was behest. I just heard it so loudly. The behest. It was at the behest. So I hope that that's the right word here. At the behest of others. Like, it was, you were always putting them first and putting yourself last. So if you felt like something was going to rub wrong against another person, then you would let something rub wrong against you in order to make sure that person was at ease. And please let me say, pile 2, that's a very admirable trait. It truly is. But there is no honor in suffering. It can be admirable for all it's worth, but no one else is going to see it that way because they don't really care that you're suffering. And if they did, they wouldn't put you in that position in the first place, right? And so if it's love, if it's your actions, if it's your job, if it's the way you see things, if it's the way you talk, if it's the way you observe the world, whatever it is, if somebody's putting you in a position where you have to put yourself on the back burner in order for them to step forward, in order for them to have the spotlight, in order for them to feel comfortable, that is suffering. And that's not healthy either. It's not a healthy place to be at. It's showing codependency through and through here. And I feel like there's this where you have learned how step by step nurturing yourself has given you courage to say, if I can't embrace my personal power first, I'm at least going to embrace my truth. But with both Cancer energy and Mars energy here, there's this very bitter, that's what's coming through. There's this very bitter energy that's coming out where you're finally reached the end of the rope and you said enough. I'm done trying to feel like I have to carry this person's journey. I'm done. I'm checking out, right? But at first the self-care felt very tentative, like as if you were scared to do it, because it was like, what if I do this and I actually have to walk away from this person? What if that's something that comes to pass? And so maybe you didn't take that journey as seriously at first, but the more and more that you've taken it, the more and more that you've grown. You know, you can't take a journey without expecting it to change you in some way, shape, or form. And it definitely has changed you. And it's changed the way you think about this person, this situation, this relationship, this connection, this job, whatever it is. And you've reached a point where now you're defending yourself in a very profound way. And sometimes defending yourself says, I just have to let that go. I have to let it go. That's the only option I have. I have to just let it be what it's going to be. And if it comes back to me, great. If it doesn't, great. Like, instead of saying like, well, what if I let it go and it never comes back? Well, I don't want it to not come back. So I'm going to hold on to it for all that I'm worth because I need it to be here now. But at some point, needing to take care of yourself became more important than trying to control the outcome of the situation at hand. And I feel like that's something that is that ultimate inner transformation, is recognizing that takes so much courage. And especially in a world where there's so many communities telling us just to deal with it. We don't have to just deal anymore. That's it. That might have been how it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. That might have been the way of the world then. We're seeing a huge transformation in self-awareness And self-awareness is protection and self-preservation. And sometimes self-preservation says, I have to move on. Not because I don't care, but because I do. And that's what's happening here. And so we're seeing an alignment of your values for love and your values for self beginning to align. And that's such a powerful place to be at. But it's also being met with a very abrasive energy. It's very blunt. It's very blatant. Where now when people try to, you know, like, let's just say your idea of a relationship has changed. And just say, like, you go on to advice forums, and those advice forums are like they're showing me right now, like, the bro code advice forums where they're like, oh, you got to neg a woman in order to get her to like you, right? Well, as a guy, again, just an example, this is just what came through, so I'm going to go with it. But, like, as a guy, that might have been something that you were like, really? Like, I don't know if that's how you get a woman. And so maybe you followed that advice at some point, and a couple times it just really backfired on you. And you're like, oh, I don't like the way that makes me feel anyways. Because it's just, well, they're saying that this is the only thing that works. And I really want a partner in my life, but I don't want to treat them like that. Like, I want to respect them. I want to love them. And so now it's like I'm looking for advice that actually mirrors that, right? That mirrors loving myself and putting my values first, instead of putting this idea of the bro code first, where, you know, they just disrespect women or they disrespect your partners. And even women giving advice to women in this way too. Disrespect men, disrespect your partners. Like, that's the only way to make them live, you know, like the whole, excuse the expression, but the bitch mentality, right? Like that thing. And it's like, of course, there's some aspects of it that are true, but there are also some other aspects of it that are highly subjective. And I feel like that's the thing. Like, there's this energy where you're seeing that now, and it could be the twin flame community. Like, you're realizing they're saying, well, you have to fight for your twin, otherwise it's never going to come to be. And you're like, look, I'm done. I fought as hard as I could. I can't anymore. I can't fight for this because it's leaving me feeling completely worthless, and I'm tired of feeling worthless. And so there's something along these lines that have changed. Like, if this was a situation, right? Like, maybe it was a job and you held on to this job for so long, and everybody's like, this came up in another reading not that long ago, but where the job looked really good on paper and you were getting paid really well, but you were feeling so misaligned from this position. Like, it didn't hold true to you. Like, the way people were treating each other, you just didn't like it. And so there's some point where there was this part that you crossed, this threshold that you crossed, and you were like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't like this. I don't like going against what feels right for me to appease other people. Like, you're just not doing that anymore. And that could have been appeasing a community. That could have been appeasing family. That could have been appeasing a loved one. That could have been appeasing just coworkers, whatever, right? It could have just been putting everybody else first before yourself. And we see this shift. And this is an ultimate inner transformation, because the shift comes with what comes with the shift is standing up for yourself in a new way, which is you finding your voice and stepping into your personal power. Let's find out some more here, Source, for pile number 2. Also, very quickly, if you're interested in and you feel called to, you may find some additional messages in the collective reading that I did at the beginning of this video, and you will find the timestamp in the description box if you feel called to. There's no obligation there, okay? But I was getting that energy that you may feel called to it. Some of you might be, okay? So for pile number 2, the ultimate transformation, the ultimate inner transformation here, Source. Okay, thank you. Yeah, overcoming the negative thought patterns that were keeping you feeling like you had to make yourself small, or that you had to disrupt your desires and your beliefs in order to fit in. Just like, I'd rather stand out and be weird and different than to fit into that box that everybody thinks that everybody like me should fit into, right? That's what this feeling is. It's like seeing that the box is designed to create lack, and you're stepping into a more abundant sense of self. So there's freedom with that. What else for pile 2? Thank you, Source. Ooh, yeah, look at that. We've got the Strength on the bottom in the reverse. This is talking about repressed emotions, repressed energy, repressed circumstances from the past. And so there's a pain here for sure. There's something here that's resonant from your past. This could have been akin to you saw your parents go through this and you may have blocked it out at some point in time. Like you could have been, again, going back to that, the bro code, like you could have had a father or a brother even in your life that was very much in that type of energy, or even an uncle. Or it was like, oh, you know, like my wants matter more than my family's needs. My wants matter more than my wife's needs or my partner's needs, right? Like these types of energies, and that could have always just really rubbed you wrong. And you were like, I just don't understand that. But then they were saying, oh, well, this is the only way to get a really good wife, or this is the only way to get a really good partner, a good man in your life, right? And maybe for you, there was this really weird conundrum because it's like maybe their partner was incredibly good looking and a good person, and you just never could put two and two together. You're like, why do you love my uncle so much, or why do you love my brother so much? I don't understand it. You're such a gem of a person, and yet he treats you like crap. Like, what is going on? And you could never put it together. And so maybe like a part of your ego is like, well, this is the only way we're going to find love too. And so you may have tried that, but it's like seeing it now, like playing out. Yeah. Seeing it played out, you realize like, this is just not for me. And it's interesting too, because the Hermit can point towards, in the reverse, can point to our sexual preferences, hiding our sexual preferences, feeling like we don't fit in. And so I'm getting a little bit of the LGBTQ plus community coming in here as well. But there's this energy of hiding from your own sexual preferences, or feeling like, so if you're a man, like you've always been said like, oh, I have to go for the women. Like I can't go for a man, even though I'm really super attracted to men, right? It's like we're look, here's the thing, pile two. We're stepping into 2026, about to be 2027 at the time of me recording this video. We're moved into the new era. Okay, it is safe for you to love who you love. And if people are judging you based on who you love, and this goes out to everybody on here, your type, your style, your person, your gender preference, your non-gender preference, right? It is safe for you to love who you love. Everybody deserves love, and you're not weird, and you're not different, and it may feel like it, but you're not. You deserve to love who you love. And if that person doesn't love you back, it doesn't mean that there's no one out there for you, right? And that's okay. It's just finding that rhythm for yourself and being comfortable with who you are. And that somebody needs to hear this here with the Hermit in the reverse, because he does point to hidden sexual desires and sexual wants. And I feel like that's translating into still being in the closet, or not feeling comfortable enough to express yourself in the environment that you're in when it comes to your sexual preferences. So if you're with a partner now, like you might not feel comfortable enough to express some ideas that you've had for the bedroom, and feeling like repressed, like I have to repress myself. Like, you know, maybe you want to try toys. Again, just an example. Like maybe you want to try toys, and they have definitely vocalized they're absolutely against toys. They feel like they're in competition with the toys. Like, I don't want to bring toys in here because I don't want to feel like the toys are making you feel better than what I can make you feel better as. And they're not seeing it as an opportunity to deepen their connection with you, right? So you've repressed that, or maybe that's something from the past that you've seen. Again, going back to the bro code energy here, it's like that where you repressed it because maybe your auntie or your other uncle, right? Maybe you really loved them and you cared about them and you had great conversations with them, and you were so grateful that they were in your life. And it's like, well, you know, like, I'm glad that you were in my life. I'm so sad that you got treated like this, but I'm really glad that you were in my life. Or again, a sister-in-law or brother-in-law, right? Like there's this energy that's coming in here. Or as a woman, even seeing like women treat men like crap, and it just goes against your every fiber. You're just like, no, like men deserve respect. They deserve to be, you know, seen and heard, and they deserve to be able to feel safe to share their emotions, and whatever it is, right? Like whatever it is. But I just feel like whatever the situation was, it's gone against the grain for you, and you didn't like it, and so you repressed it at some point, and now you're being invited to let this part of yourself show. Like, don't don't shy away from that. Like, if you like to build men up, build men up. If you like to build women up, build women up, right? If you're a man and you like men, go find some all male bars, you know, like, or all male clubs, or all male chat rooms, or all male, you know, like, connect, find a way to connect. If you're a woman and you like women, same thing, find all female bars, all, you know, like, that's the thing. It's find a way to connect and don't feel bad about it, right? But I feel like there's something here about reclaiming your personal power, is being honest with the blue agate, being honest with yourself about something that you've been hiding from for a long time because you feel like it doesn't belong, or you feel like it's going to get judged. And maybe it's because, you know, again, it feels closeted. Like, I'm seeing something that's closeted here. And so it's that idea that if I bring this out of the closet, then it's raw and it's vulnerable. And if it's raw and vulnerable, it means it's privy to being attacked. And I don't want it to get attacked, because I've watched people attack it, not necessarily you or possibly you, but I feel like you've watched as people have attacked others that have been like that as well. And that's the thing, that's the fear that's coming out. It's like, I've seen it, I've heard it, and I don't want to be subjected to it myself. And so now it's about empowering yourself to realize that if people are treating you in that way, they are for sure not your people. And that's sometimes really hard. That's really hard, because they're people that, their family, right? With the third house, their family, their siblings, their schoolmates that we grew up with, friends that we've had since elementary school, middle school, or even high school. But it's like from our early childhood, we've known these people, but they may be racist, they may be sexist, they may be homophobic, they may be, you know, all these things. And it's like, but I don't feel that way. I just feel like I can't talk to them about it because they're going to argue with me about it. Look, let me tell you a story. My ex, he was a narcissist, if you guys don't know. I was with him for 8 years, and I remember we had this conversation once. I used to drive a little Hyundai Tiburon. I love that car so much. But we were driving. He was driving. Let me get this straight. He was driving, and I was in the passenger seat. And he was completely against gays, like all gays. He just thought that, well, they have a choice, and, you know, they need to get their stuff together, and they need to go and get reformed. And I just couldn't understand that. Like, I was like, no, they don't. Like, they don't have a choice. They're born this way. Like, it's so weird that people think they have a choice. Like, as if they had a choice, do you think that they would automatically choose to be, you know, discriminated against and hurt? No, like, nobody wants to choose that, right? Like, so I was having this argument. It was an argument. It was not even a discussion. This was a flat out argument. And I had said to him, okay, what if we have a child together and our child is gay? And he said, well, I'll just send them to church and have the church fix them. And I was like, why would you put them in that position? Why would you basically say to them that you're never going to accept them for who they are? And he's like, because I can't have a gay child. But then he went on to bringing up the fact that his niece was gay, and that they all, like, this is how wild being with a narcissist is, right? This is how wild it is. He brought up that his niece was gay, and they all knew since she was a little girl that she was gay, and that, you know, like, his brother wasn't doing anything about it, yada, yada. And I was like, so it's okay for your niece to be gay, you accept that, but for your own child, that's not appropriate? I was like, how backwards can you really get? And he blew up in that moment, and he punched the windshield and shattered my windshield from the inside. From the inside, he shattered the windshield. And he started screaming at me, and he's like, we are never, ever having this conversation again. Don't you ever bring up any conversation with me about gays and lesbians. I don't want to give a blah, blah. I mean, what he was saying was completely inappropriate. But the thing is like, I still didn't stop, because I was raised in a home via my mother to accept everybody. Your skin color, your sexual preferences, and all that stuff. Everybody has a right to exist. Right? My mom was very open-minded about this stuff. And so to see that and to realize and recognize that we had two completely different viewpoints, but I still stayed with him after that, partially because I was so scared, and watch him blow up the windshield in front of me. And that was, you know, just one of the many, many times that he had destroyed our things and didn't take it out on me, but other times had taken it out on me. And so the thing is that some people will use intimidation as a scare tactic because they don't want to admit that what they're saying makes no sense. And so I feel like you've experienced this. And so if you've been in a situation where fear as a tactic was used, that's what you're facing, is that fear. It's not the fact that this person is still threatening you, even if they may be, and they may be. Like, I don't want to just write that off either. But what I'm saying is, like, when you face that fear that has been underlying from the initial moment, the repression, the moment that fear initially came through, when you face that fear, then you begin to empower yourself. And even if this person is still trying to oppress you based on fear, or the situation, maybe it's a situation, is still trying to oppress you based on fear, codependency, right? Then once you find your personal power and you're comfortable with who you are, you can still stand up for yourself. Yeah, this feels hopeless. Whatever this is, it feels completely hopeless. Like, you're wondering how you're ever going to get through it. And it's understandable, right? And again, it doesn't have to be sexual preferences. It could be anything. This could be a job, a family situation, twin flame situation, a love situation, a car situation. This could be a housing situation. This could be a life situation. It could be anything here, but it feels hopeless. And there's also something here that has been draining you of resources with the Ace of Coins in the reverse. And okay. But how you claim your personal powers to see through the illusions with the Nine of Cups here is, it's a true happiness card, right? Like, this is truly cultivating our internal happiness. But with the Star and the Ace of Coins in the reverse, we see that there's someone who has been draining you, or a situation that has been draining you and making you feel like you cannot be who you are. There's something here, it's like putting yourself on the back burner. And again, I said that at the beginning, there's no honor in suffering. You ever meet women who go out in the dead of night and it's below freezing and they're wearing nothing but a mini skirt and a halter top, and they have on the lightest coat because it's stylish, right? It's a midriff coat that they have on, and so their midriff is showing, their legs are completely bare, but they're out there and they're smoking a cigarette and they're freezing and they're still shivering it. And some of you on here might be that person calling you out. Yeah. But I used to work at this bar, and I remember telling these women, there's no honor in suffering. I was like, all you guys are doing is setting up prime real estate for you to get sick. And they're like, we get sick every winter. We get so sick all the time. And I was like, because you go and stand out in the dead of night in the cold and you won't bring a winter coat. I was like, and they're like, but a winter coat's not fashionable. And I was like, look, misery is not honorable. I don't care how you look at it. It's not. You have to protect yourself. Okay, so you go out for 15 minutes and you don't look fashionable, but you don't get sick, right? And there are plenty of coats out there that look really cute that would cover you and you would still look fashionable, but you're stuck in this thing that, like, I have to show every aspect of my body. Like, I have to let everything be seen. And, you know, again, no judgment. That's fine. If you like that type of wear it. That's cool. I think it's beautiful on women. But don't put yourself through suffering when you could find ways to strengthen your resolve, strengthen yourself, strengthen who you are, and stand empowered in that, knowing that it's okay for me to protect myself and still be myself. But so much of the time, it's like there's this fear that if we change one thing, then we're changing all aspects of it. Oh, if I wear this winter coat today, or if I wear this self-protection today, then that means that tomorrow I won't have my authentic expression anymore. And that's not true at all, right? And so we're seeing through the illusion here with the Nine of Cups, while it is a true happiness card, but it's also embracing the fact that illusions do not have to emotionally control you any longer. And that's what's been controlling you here. And this fear of finding your own internal voice and embracing even your personal power is because there's somebody or situation here that has been leeching on your resources. So Source, how can pile number 2 embrace their internal power, their personal power, and their truth? Now, I don't take these in the reverse. It did fly out in the reverse, but I will mention what it means in the reverse when we get to it. How can pile number 2, again, look at this. It came out in the reverse. This is the King of Cups in the reverse. By letting go of these people who are emotionally distant, who are emotionally unavailable. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly mention right now twin flames. Again, this does not have to be a resonant journey with anyone, but it doesn't mean that the message won't find its home. But for those of you with the twin flame journey, you're chasing after emotionally unavailable people. And you have it in your mind and in your hearts that you're the only one that can change the situation. If we couldn't change the situation with emotionally unavailable, toxic people, what really gives us the belief that we can change it with someone who is emotionally distant and has ghosted us, making it clear that they don't want to have any part of our lives? Oh, but they're stalking me. They're watching me on social media. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're not showing up. They're not being consistent. They're not putting in an effort. So why are we continuing to show up for someone who's not putting in an effort? Well, because the twin flame community says that they will. Okay, let go. Stop holding on to that. Start holding on to yourself, because you deserve to love, appreciate, and admire yourself, and you deserve somebody who shows up for you 100% right now, who is consistent, putting in the effort. Not someone who's ghosted you and is constantly just outside your radar, no matter how much you feel them. It's just such an odd energy that we have cultivated around this idea of the ultimate love. No matter how you look at it, the ultimate love is someone who loves us back, but someone who's willing to put in the effort to build a relationship. The relationships are not fantasy. They're actually hard work. And so if both parties are willing to put in that hard work, then building an ultimate love is something that is possible. But if only one party puts in all that work, that's unrequited love. That's not they're never going to love you the way you love them, because you've loved some version of them in your head that you know they can be. They just haven't stepped into yet. So let go of that idea that you have in your mind of who they could be, and look without the glasses on. Take the glasses off and look, are they that person now? And if they're not, it's okay. Let go. You cannot lose what is truly yours. How can they step into their personal power and find their voice here, Source? What would you like to share? Bottom of the deck, we've got the two the 2 of Wands with possibilities. So no matter your situation, there are options available for you. But I feel like the thing is like in situations like that, and again, I'm going to use a twin flame journey as an example right now, is the twin flame journey says it's only this person. This is the only person for me. There are 8 billion people on the planet. Do you know how many soulmates we actually have? People who love and cherish and admire us and are going to show up and be consistent for us. It's a whole lot more than one. But we're so stuck on the label that we refuse to look at the truth. And that's why the twin flame journey is so difficult. It's never, ever, 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 and it will never, ever, ever, ever be about the person outside of us. It will only ever be about the person we are and how we show up, because how we show up for them is how we're ignoring ourselves. And that can be such a hard thing. And I know it's a difficult energy to see. It's something difficult to take in. But the same is true with any journey that you're on, and the same is true with any part of your life. If you're showing up for someone outside of you and putting yourself on the back burner, it's never been about that person. It's about how you're not showing up for yourself. And that's why this came out in the reverse. Source is saying, how do you claim your voice and have this ultimate inner transformation is by no longer showing up for emotionally unavailable people. They're not your people. Maybe down the line they will be, but right now they're not your people. Go and connect with your people, the people who see you right now. They're there, but maybe you can't let them in because you're holding on to some past idea. Open up to the possibilities. And this is something I've always said whenever I've done any love readings or any readings having to do with another person. If we always hold on to the package, we do ourselves the disservice of not opening up to the possibility of who it could be. We're so stuck on it being this one person that says it fits all of these check marks. Twin flames are not a check mark list. It's a spiritual experience. And a spiritual experience is vastly different from a romantic experience. But we're trying to merge the two and make them one and the same. And they're not. They're not the same. Does it mean that you won't ever have a romantic connection with your twin flame? Maybe. Maybe not. That's not for me to say. But when you're holding on to it only can be a romantic connection, you're not opening up to the truth that this connection is bringing you, which is actually incredibly spiritual. And it's a huge transformation for you on your own journey. But if you're only sitting there saying, well, it's because I want this person as my husband or my wife. I want this person to be physically manifested in my reality right now. I have to have kids with them. I have to be in a love relationship with them, right? You're only seeing it through the eyes of the ego. You're not seeing it through the eyes of source. You're not seeing it through the eyes of spirit. And you sure as not seeing yourself through eyes of unconditional love. Because you're saying, I will do everything in my power to control said situation in order to receive this. And that's not coming from love. That's coming from fear, from lack. Okay? Yeah, intensity. So this came out in the reverse. And whenever the Knight of Wands comes out in the reverse, it's talking about romantic frustration. So you got both of these out in the reverse. I don't take this deck in the reverse, but let's talk about it for a second. Romantic frustration because of someone who's emotionally unavailable, who is emotionally manipulative, who does not have time or space for you because they're too busy coming from an emotional ego. Someone who is erratic. They could be a player. They could be having multiple connections with multiple people. Do they like you? Do they love you? Sure, it's a possibility. But someone can love us and still make terrible choices for themselves without putting us into consideration. So if they're not considering you, why are you making space to consider them? That's the question. You wouldn't consider, if this person didn't have this label, you would not consider anybody else without this label the way that you consider them. So why are you considering them? What makes them so special? Why does the label eradicate them from your discernment and judgment? Why? That's not fair to you. But the label becomes the thing we hold on to instead of seeing it for what it really is. And again, I'm not here to say that you're never going to have a romantic connection with them. That's not for me to say. But there's something very valuable in understanding that if we take off the rose-colored glasses and we see the reality of the situation, that this person just doesn't have the capacity to receive me in a loving relationship like I'm ready to enter into, then you free yourself from something. The same with if you're hiding from yourself sexually, emotionally, mentally, whatever the situation is here. What I feel the main point of this reading pile too is that you're considering someone else and not considering yourself because of this situation. Oh, well, that's my family. I need to put them first. And my wants and worries and concerns come after my family's taken care of. Okay, so let's put that on the plate. After your family's taken care of. So that means that logically, if we were to pull this apart at the end of the day, every day after they're in bed, you should have time for yourself, right? After they're taken care of. You fixed dinner, you fixed lunch, they came home from school, you helped them with their homework, you helped your partner with whatever they had going on, you took care of all these things, everybody's in bed, and yet you still have a million things left to do to take care of them. You're putting them first. You're not taking an hour for yourself every day to unwind, to decompress, to reconnect. Family is absolutely important, but not at the cost of yourself. A twin flame, absolutely important, but not at the cost of yourself. The friends that you have in your life, absolutely important, but not at the cost of yourself. The Two of Cups, interesting, friendliness, right? So again, we're looking at a connection. There's a connection here that's coming into play. It does feel like connection because of the Two of Cups on the Nine of Cups. This is something like you're saying to yourself, like, once this balances out, then I'll be happy. But that's the ego talking. The ego says, once I get whatever in my life, then I can be happy. But the spirit says, once I cultivate happiness within, then all that I desire comes to me. But not in the package you expect. It comes as it's meant to. Not what we want, but what we need. And those are vastly different things. And yet we're saying to Source, you're my puppet on a string to control as I wish. But that's not this journey. And no matter if you're a chosen one or not, right? And I use this loosely because everybody's chosen. If they but choose the journey, they become chosen. The same with twin flames. We might be the chosen, but the journey itself was never about the other person. The other person was just a catalyst to our own self-discovery. I don't even feel like I need to say any more on that. So, that's why they just stopped right there. They just stopped. Okay, so we've got Jupiter coming out with grow and expand. Yeah, part of your spiritual growth. This is a part of your ascension. Okay, bottom of the deck, the 4th house, letting go of ancestral curses here with cultural and family roots, home, peace, and comfort. This is where you're comfortable chasing, comfortable denying, comfortable hiding, right? Those are all things you learned in your home from an early age. 3rd house, early learning, early childhood development and learning, the way you rationalize the world around you. Okay, so this is an early on development that's still at play here, a childhood wound that's creating a hopeless manner in your life. Maybe it's not the situation that's hopeless. What's become hopeless is the emotional ego holding on to its idea of what it should be. Zadkiel and Gratzalu with the time for being passive and accepting begins now. Let go of all desires. Be patient and prepared. The right moment will come. Everything has its time. So right now it's all about letting go. And I got that from the beginning of your message. There's this energy of letting go. It's a necessity for your journey moving forward. Needing to let go so that you can become what you're supposed to become in this moment. Look at this. We have malefics coming out. Be aware of the challenges. This is not an easy topic. Okay? No matter what it's regarding, it's not an easy topic. It's not easy to put ourselves on the chopping block per se. Because it means that we are having to look at the things of ourselves that we otherwise would have just stepped back and put our hands up at and let go, right? There is no honor in suffering, but our emotional ego says there's tons of honor in suffering. People are going to notice me for it one day. One day it never comes, let me tell you, right? It just never comes. Yeah, fix, keep on keeping on. There's also this element of being stubborn here. Something incredibly stubborn coming through, something that doesn't want to change. But you have the power to change it. This is your inner transformation. It's the ultimate inner transformation, is letting go. Look at this. All paths lead home. Inner authority. Can we just stop? Inner authority. Intuition. Turn your gaze within. Right? And really quickly for those on the twin flame journey, we're talking about, well, they're home to me. They remind you of the home that resides within yourself. All paths lead home to self, to our internal selves. Okay? The eternal light that burns within us. It's not them being our home. It's that they remind us of the light that exists within us. That's why our inner authority to tap into that is so profound and absolutely life-changing for us. And the same goes for anything else. No one else is going to lead you home. They're going to be opportunities for you to draw closer to yourself. Earth pulsing, pulse of the mother, slow down, time in nature. Yeah, time for you to nurture yourself in nature, right? There's something here about waterfall with the waterfall energy here too. There's something about effortlessness. There's something when you let go that something effortlessly starts to change or to shift in your life. And I feel like it'll be something that's very natural to you and will make you feel much, much better when you stop fighting against it or expecting it to be what you wanted it to be. Which is look, that's easier said than done. I also identify as a twin flame, and I've been on the journey for a long time, and I've been through so much with my guides and with my spiritual team and even my ancestors in regards to this, and I get so many messages in regards to it. And you could say, oh, you're a scorned twin flame. Not at all. Not at all. I will always love him with all of my heart. And there was a time when I was scorned, but I've learned forgiveness, and I've learned to step into a place of peace and knowing. And I'm tired of trying to control it, because when I was controlling it, I was completely overwhelmed, and I never felt good enough. I never felt good enough on that journey. But when I finally let go and stepped into a place of forgiveness and peace, I realized I am enough. And that internal peace is what helps me realize that the journey wasn't all we were told it was by people. But when we can stop and trust our own inner authority and our own intuition away from the challenge of the emotional ego, we begin to see a deeper truth. They were leading us home to ourselves all along. It was never about the physical connection. We're never separate. I will never be separate from him. I'm already in union with him because he is me and I am him. But I don't need a romantic connection to prove that to me. I don't need to have kids with him in order to feel complete. I don't need to have a sexual connection with him in order to feel at peace and happiness and like I'm desirable. Right? I don't need a romantic connection with him in order to feel like I've finally accomplished something on my journey. That's the difference. It's not a twin flame scorned. It's an awakened twin flame. And there's a difference there, because you see that when we're saying, oh, well, if you're saying it's not about the relationship, you're wrong. The minute we start judging another person for the way they see the journey from that place of saying, if they're coming from love, this is what I want you to know. If they're coming from love and we're saying, well, you're wrong. That's not my experience. It will never be my experience. My experience is going to be me having that relationship because I want it. I can't have anybody else in my life. I've talked to a lot of twin flames. I met somebody once that had been waiting for their twin flame for 45 years. 45 years they were waiting for their twin flame to come in. And when I talked to them and I asked if they loved themselves, they struggled with saying that they did. And I realized that this person was never going to truly love themselves because they had identified their love of self with the love of their twin flame. And so I asked them that, and I said, if your twin flame came in and loved you right now, would you feel like you were lovable? And they said, yeah. And I said, but unless that happens, you feel like you're not lovable. And they said, exactly. It's interesting to see broken-hearted twin flames going through that same situation. I was in that exact same place too. I believed that my worth was tied to him coming into my life and saying, let's move forward with this relationship. That he was my knight in shining armor, here to save me from myself. And then after being bonked on the head by source and my guides and given message after message in my dreams, in the physical world, in the meditation, in my meditation sanctuary, through my intuition, all these things always pointed towards it was never about him. It was always about me. And I started understanding things that a lot of people don't talk about, because romance is two things, okay? Romance is easy manipulation, because it's one of the, like, romance and sex, those are the two highly sought after topics in the world, right? And they're easily monetized as well. And that's why I don't do a lot of love readings on my channel, because that's not how I see love. I don't see love in that way. I see love from a much different place. But it's because of my own journey. And I feel like if someone's coming to you from love, they're going to encourage you to see your value and worth right now and not say that it's up to you, i.e. divine feminines, to figure it out and to carry all the spiritual burden. That's not fair. It will never be fair. And that's how it's designed. It's designed to keep you coming back, to feel like you're always missing something, to feel like you can always do something more, that there's just one little step that hasn't clicked into place yet in order to manifest them into your life. That's a trap. And the same is true if you don't, again, you don't even have to be a twin flame. That could be the same is true for any situation. If it's designed to make you doubt yourself time and time again, like you always have to come back, it's not coming from a place of love. From a place of love is to encourage you to see your own internal power as divine and perfect and something that will always guide you. That's where our true power comes from. That's where our sovereignty lies. Look at that. King Neptune with sensitivity. You have all this love to share. You could have Pisces highly aspect in your chart, but you have all this love to share. You have all this love to give. Why are you going to keep trying to give it to people who don't have that love to give back to you? Especially when there are plenty of people out there who have as much love to give as you do. Love is infinite. It can never run out. There will always be a well to draw from. Conditional love, however, is stifling. And that's the question. Do you feel free? Or do you feel chained? That question alone can give you a lot of insight to whether or not this situation is for you or working against you. And I can't answer that for you. And I mean, answer it honestly. Maybe even saying the answer you don't want to hear. And knowing that that's okay. That's all right. That's what Source specializes in, is giving us the messages we need, not the messages that we want. We've got Dolphin Spirit flying out. This and that are true. So this card is a unique card because it literally is this energy where whatever you believe, it will be true. But that doesn't mean it'll manifest. So we'll use fear and love as the example here. If you fear that things will never come to pass, then they won't. But if you come from a place of faith and love that good things will come to pass, then they will. Life isn't fair. It's based on faith and love. It's not based on fairness. Everybody can attest that because everybody has a whole handful, a book full of unfair stories. But when you stop and come from a place of faith, miracles are possible everywhere we go. And again, it's not to scare you that this person's not for you. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not here to tell you they're not for you. You may very well have an incredibly beautiful manifested relationship with them. But right now, even though you may think you're ready for it, you're not. You're coming from a place of fear, and that's a perfect indicator that you're not yet ready to have that higher vibrational commitment. Because it means that there's going to be something that triggers you. There's going to be something that causes a blow up. There's going to be something that causes you to run, that causes you to chase, right? That's what we're trying to heal within ourselves so that we're ready for when that higher commitment comes. Know your worth. Exactly. Nothing and no one in this world is worth sacrificing yourself. Label or not, it's not worth sacrificing yourself at all. At all. And honestly, the way I look at it, Pile 2, is that if I'm meant to have a physical relationship with my twin flame, great. And if I'm not, great. Neither one is worth me sacrificing my self-worth. Because with him or without him, I'm enough and I matter. And I have valuable information and I am valuable. I'm the only one that can see that, though. I can't ask him to see that for me. right? So my worth is not tied to him. And that's what the twin flame dynamic has become, is our worth tied to our partner or twin flame partner. And, you know, even if you're not, again, if you're not twin flame, your worth is not tied to these people. Your value is not tied to these people, no matter what role they perform in your life. You have to see yourself as valuable. If they stick around, can you come into a state of acceptance and peace? Great, they stuck around. If they didn't, great, they didn't. But not letting one or the other determine how you show up for yourself. Teacher, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. And the shadow is manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. So I feel like you've been on this path of learning some type of destructive skill or destructive belief, and now you're learning how to communicate that from a place of knowledge and wisdom. That's where this shift begins, is seeing it from knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, and I feel like this confirms, like, waiting for someone to be your knight in shining armor, or your queen in shining armor, or whatever, your person in shining armor, right? That's just not going to ever happen. We have to save ourselves. It says, provide strength and support to others in crisis, acts out of love with no expectation of reward. So I said, when they come from a place of love, you'll know the difference. And people can paint love in a lot of really shiny ways, but that doesn't make it love. Love is empowering people, even when they're at the worst of their existence, at the worst of themselves. Love is reminding them that they have value in that moment. Not saying that you have to shoulder the world to make it work for yourself. Otherwise, there's something inherently wrong with you. That's not love. But it can definitely be delivered from a state of calm, centered, where it sounds like love, right? But that doesn't make it love. The shadows assumes that the rescued will reciprocate, keeps the rescued one needy. And that's exactly what I was saying. It's designed to make you keep coming back. It's designed to create that dissonance in your energy. Like, oh, I did something wrong. It's not clicking for me. Like, I need to come back. I need to have something more. It's not that you're not enough or that there's something wrong with you. It's because you're missing out on loving yourself. Seeing yourself right now as utterly, completely intoxicating, magnificent, and wonderful. Because you are. We have Error and Othala with strive for divinity in your words, thoughts, and deeds, and shape your life according to your desires. The magic required for this is entering your life now. So coming into that self-magic, reconnecting with the star chakra as well. That's going to help you. That's the one above the crown chakra. Is listening to your higher guides, the oversaw, and also gathering information from other dimensions. And if you don't believe in other dimensions, that's fine. But this is like truly tapping into the oversaw, the highest self, right? Our highest self's highest self. That divinity that resides within. And if you don't know how to do that, that's okay. Meditation is one of the easiest ways, while sitting in silence and nature can be a very powerful place for you too, okay? Balance, Mawu Lisa. Yeah, so this card talks about the balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And I feel like it's really, really telling that it came out. But also it's interesting that this came out because I was feeling like the LGBTQ plus community earlier. And Mawu Lisa is actually a non-gender, non-binary, right? Does not claim a gender, is both, but an embodiment of both. So you would maybe call that, as our labels are, gender fluid. But literally holds no, I'm a he, I'm a she. They are gender fluid. They do not claim one or the other because they are a balance of both. And so that balance, when you bring that balance into your life of balancing the masculine and the feminine within you, then you recognize that no masculine or no feminine outside of you can ever complete you, because you've been complete and whole this entire time. Right? All right, so let's take a look at your card. I'm going to read this from the book. We're going to see what it says. Hearn. Number 33. Your guides, your angels, your ancestors, they're all with you, walking this journey with you. Very synchronistic to get out into nature. This is actually interesting enough. When I first got this deck, this is the card I got too. When I got this deck, the first card that came out for me. in the very first reading. I can remember almost all of the decks that I have. I can almost remember all the first cards that I got from them. Just powerful messages, though. And they were never the cards that I wanted, right? They were always the cards that I needed, but they were never the cards that I wanted. It says the earthly dragon of Hearn acts as a reminder of the cycles of life, death, rebirth, and the turning of the seasons. He reminds us that everything is cyclical, along with how out of sync we are with the earth's natural rhythm, and that our internal body clock has forgotten nature's natural pattern. We couldn't imagine life without our internet, connected phones, social media, 24/7 TV. However, all of these things act like a smokescreen from delving into ourselves, listening to our own internal pattern, reconnecting to ourselves, and in turn, the rhythm of the planet's breath. He says, you celebrate May Day, Halloween, Christmas, and other festivals, yet you forget the true essence of what they truly signify. They are a celebration of the turning of the seasons of the earth's bounty, and you are out of step with these things. It's time to reevaluate, to slow down your fast-paced life, for you are constantly spinning on your axis rather than weaving with the earth's beautiful tapestry. Look at the trees, watch the waves, listen to the bees. Your body and mind need time to rest and to recharge. Hearn is another reminder that nothing lasts forever. Love and life, he says. For example, all these things in life are like waxing and waning of the moon. It is forever changing. He's connected to everything within the natural world, the rocks, the earths, trees, and plants, and he advises us that we would do well to remember that we too are a part of the seasons, the earth's rotation, and Mother Earth herself. And I love that this card came out, Earth's Pulse. Earth's pulsing. Like, these two cards are so synchronistic with one another, right? Slow down, time in nature, to rest and recharge with nature. And I feel like you've been so busy with whatever it is that you're trying to create or to do or to overcome that you've forgotten to just listen to that internal knowing of yourself. But when you slow down and get back out with nature, you know, make it a habit to go outside for at least 5 minutes a day and sit and just be, without a phone, without distractions. Just sit and be and see what comes up. I think you'll find that you'll get very, very direct guidance from your guides and from source, helping you along the way and helping you to step aside from your emotional ego and back into a sense of grounded self. Okay, so honoring your voice is remembering that while you have this idea, this belief, or this love, that's beautiful, but not honoring your voice is saying that this idea, this belief, this label, this situation is more worthy of my time than me with myself. That's where you're out of sync, okay? So what a powerful reading that came through today. Pile 2, if you felt like this was your reading, leave the little earth emoji down below and say, today take time to breathe in the wisdom that nature has to give to me, to slow down, to rest, to recharge, and reconnect. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like. You are more than welcome to share your story down below if you feel called to. And please subscribe to the channel. And if this reading called to your soul, you can also check out the description box and find additional ways to support the channel itself through the links there. But I would like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly powerful message today, Pile 2. And until next time, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this emoji, this dice with the sun on it, it's been a day. Perhaps you felt called to this beautiful yellow jasper for the solar plexus chakra. Or you were called to this card during the shuffle. This is going to be your reading regarding your ultimate inner transformation, reclaiming your voice or finding your voice and reclaiming your personal power. So with that, I'm truly honored to be here sharing this human experience with you. Please know that triggering statements may arise on my readings. There's no obligation to force them to fit, but maybe see that friction as an opportunity to deepen your own healing journey. With that, I'm truly honored to be spending this time, this energy, and this space with each and every one of you. So if you're new here, welcome, and for those of you that are returning, welcome back. Let's go ahead and hop to it. I don't have any channeled messages except that I do feel like you're tired, pile 3. I'm tired, but I was okay until I got to your pile, and I feel like you're very tired and there's this need to want to rest, or there's a need to rest. So let's find out some more. Ultimate inner transformation for pile number 1. The ultimate inner transformation for pile 1, source. Yeah, the 12th house, Virgo energy, and Jupiter. Yeah, so there's something here about slowing down, even with the 12th house, like coming into that very feminine, receptive energy and letting spirit guide the way. I just feel like source is going to help you go to wherever you need to go right now. And it's been really hard for you to trust that because of past situations where you've been burdened or hurt. I feel like maybe this Virgo season is bringing something incredibly profound for you. And whenever you're watching this, I feel like Virgo season is going to be something that's incredibly powerful for you, pile 3. But we're about to step into Virgo energy in a few days. And so for Virgo to come out here, I do feel like that's something that's saying like Virgo season is going to be very powerful and helping you to embrace an internal abundance. In internal abundance here, with your transformation, you have overcome something that was incredibly challenging and something that was also very heavy to carry. I feel like there's just a lot of sadness here. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of heartbreak. And it could be that, you know, it was a romantic situation that fell apart. It could be a friendship that fell apart. It could be something, it does feel like a connection that fell apart, but it could have also been letting go of a job, moving on, letting go of a home, letting go of the past even, right? So there's something here where you're letting go, and it's just been really hard, and that's the ultimate inner transformation for you, is to rest and recuperate. You've been running so fast since you have figured out this part of you needed to heal, and you're trying to get to some end result. And you've already made it to the end result, but you can't even like take in the fact that you made it to the end result because you were rushing. Like, okay, it's done. Now I can move on to the next thing. And right now there's this need to drop back and to soften your energy and to trust your intuition at this time. Trust that everything is going to work out for you, and trust that things are coming together for you right now. Maybe you're trying to make things perfect, or you're trying to make things like you're trying to make a plan and you want that plan to be so perfect and you want to execute every step of the plan. Like, I can't miss a step in the plan. It has to be perfect. I have to get it perfect every time. And that's wearing you out. You're not seeing that you're already abundant because you've overcome something that was actually keeping you bottlenecked from success or financial stability or your own spiritual success here. Well, let's look at the tarot and get a little bit more. Like, this has just been a day for you. A life, a journey. I feel like for many of you, like, you're excited to hear that there's abundance, but you're also like, okay, yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that before. And I feel like Source wants to bring this abundance to you right now. But if you're running, like if you're running a marathon and you never stop to take a break, you know, Source is the one that's reaching out with a glass of water and you always just blow past him or her or them, right? You always blow past them. Like, Source isn't going to force you to stop. But the abundance is in the cup that Source has. So it's up to you to make the choice to slow down. Slow down and relax a little bit and really integrate right now. I feel like that's the huge change and the shift that you're going through. This is your ultimate inner transformation, is to take it in stride. Not to continue to work really hard. And I feel like that's going to be really hard for you if you have Earth in your energy. Whoa, all three of your cards coming out right together. What else, Source, for pile number 3, the ultimate inner transformation? I feel like what you overcame here is something to do with a person who felt like family or a situation with family. Realizing a pattern. Realizing a toxic pattern or a belief system. A fear. Someone's dirty laundry is getting shown. Right? Like, oh no, don't hang out your dirty laundry. No one needs to see that. But they did. And it's unfortunate. But at the same time, it's fortunate because it's helping you to overcome something that is highly, highly stifling. Something that is very greedy, one-sided here. And you've persevered through it. And you realize, like, it's not my responsibility to carry this anymore. And I feel like you've grown stronger because of it. But finding your voice has been really hard in this situation. Maybe, you know, the one underlying feeling that has happened throughout this entire reading is control and intimidation. So manipulation through control and intimidation. Like, that's something that's been very prevalent throughout this entire reading. And it's same coming in through here for you. All the messages have been very different so far, but I feel like that's just something that the energy that the collective has been dealing with is an energy that's very intimidating and very controlling, and using that intimidation as a means of manipulation, like basically beating you into submission through words or through actions or through impressions even is coming through. And I feel like it's just been really hard for you to honor the truth that this person or the situation was what it was. But in that, you felt a freedom in letting go, and you felt expansion right away in letting go. But then that expansion brought on a whole new, like, okay, now there's this whole new list of tasks that I have to complete. Yeah. Okay. Family. Family. So this is family. Hands down, I can't change it because we got the family card, and then the judgment points at family as well. Okay. So for both of them to come out next to each other, this talks about family. But this could be a romantic partner that you have had a family with. Regardless, this person, you have at some point along your journey wanted their approval with the 7 of coins in the reverse here. You wanted them to see you. You wanted them to honor you. You wanted them to love you back the way you love them. You see them as family. And that's important, or it has been important to you. But the dirty laundry, it's like been, and I'm sorry for this image right away, but it's what's coming in. It's like being slapped in the face with a dirty pair of underwear. That's what they're showing me right now. Yep, that's what they're showing me. Like, whatever the realization was that came through, that's what it felt like. It's like, oh my gosh. Because that's what it felt dirty. It felt gross. It was just like, but that's not what I wanted from my heart. And it was just what your emotional ego wanted. It wasn't actually what your heart wanted. Of course, your heart wants to belong and to be loved, right? That's what our heart wants, and it desires that. But your emotional ego is convincing you that this was the only person or the only people that were capable of that. And that realization of, oh, they're not, that's when it was like, oh, now I feel gross. I feel dirty. So you made a choice. You made a choice to see things from a much more honorable place for yourself, or that's what's happening here. But I do feel like the main thing is that there's a need to rest here because you're running on empty. You're running on empty, and it feels very exhausting. This person took a lot from you with the 6 of coins here in the reverse. This person took a lot from you. It was a very imbalanced situation. They expected you to hold them up. They expected you to take care of things that weren't yours to take care of. And sometimes you did. Sometimes you took it on yourself to handle it, and you did it in a very graceful manner. But they kept expecting that from you. And so now it's like you're spiritually growing, but there's been no space for the integration of that spiritual growth. Like, Source hasn't had an opportunity to come in because you just keep running by. Source, if you could tell pile 3 anything, what would you tell them right now? What do they need to hear the most right now? Integration. taking some time, some space, some solitude. What do they need to hear the most right now? And I also feel like that's time away from the situation. Yeah, clinging to the past. This has caused a lot of mayhem and chaos in your mind state and in your emotions as well. So I say it feels really dirty figuring out that they're never going to come to. Look, I can't make this up. We have the Knight of Coins. Slow down. Slow down. Take some time. Take some time to rest, to draw back. Bottom of the deck, we've got, yeah, what you might know as the Tower, what in the Tarot Marseille is known as the House of God, but with the breakthrough energy here, because abundance is trying to come in right now. But it's almost like you figured something out and you are in the process of filling your time and space with things to help you just keep running from the integration. And it's not that you necessarily fear the integration. I just feel like you've been so used to being so busy. It's like not being busy is kind of scary, or it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm guilty for being not busy. Like I feel like I'm being lazy or whatever. And you're not. Like it's an integration period right now. Because abundance is trying to find you with the King of Coins here. It's like a really powerful message. There's just a lot that's coming through. But I feel like for you, more than anything, you need to take time to realize that you just healed something that, I mean, think about this. I actually had this analogy come out in another pile. And really quickly, if you've watched all 3 piles, leave a purple heart down below. That makes you a part of my Purple Heart Club. And for those of you that watched all 3 piles, if you stick around until after pile 3, I have a special gift for you, okay? So with this, we have that energy. I had this analogy earlier that was like the tangled string, right? And it's like untangling the string, and it's like the tangled string was your mind. The chaos was in your mind and in your emotions and your feelings. It was just keeping you stuck and boxed in this situation. And so now it's like letting that go, and once you've untangled the string, it's almost like I don't know what to do with it, right? I don't want to get it tangled again, but you've been so busy that it's starting to get tangled up again because you're so busy, right? Instead, you need to take some time and roll it in a ball. Do something that is simple, that is not taxing on your energy, that's not taxing on your spiritual energy right now, which is much easier said than done. You know, sometimes when I'm doing these readings, sometimes I get a reading and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I know that's for me too, so don't feel alone. I have felt this energy recently as well, and so please don't feel alone. But I feel like yours is very short and sweet. You know, everybody else's readings were so long. There was just so much information that came out. Even with the dice, there was so much information. Like pile 1 had a load of information come out even before I rolled the dice. And from you, from the get-go, I've heard this rest, 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 rest. Do you guys remember those, what were they, hamsters in the rowboat? Row, 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 row. It was a commercial. That's what it feels like. Like, that's what they're saying. Rest, 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 rest. That's what I'm hearing. Look at it, the moon. Satisfy emotional needs. Nurture self and others. But nurture self is coming through. This is really standing out. It's time for you to nurture yourself. Like you're carrying so much from the situation. Whatever it is, you were carrying so much from it. And you're trying to keep busy so you can make it through the situation. You made it through, and now you're staying busy because it's something you've grown accustomed to. And they're saying, hey, 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 calm down. Take a step back. It's okay. We can beat this. We can beat this, okay? It's okay. We got this. You and I, together. We're going to do it. Ashtar, Sharon, and Turbo. Friendship requires attention, respect, and harmony. Nurture it is very precious. Do not lose touch with your friends. So this could be another thing, too, is to reach out to the people who you really care about. Or who you feel like really care about you, you know? But I do feel like this is a time for friends coming in. Like if you are alone, you don't have friends, like this is a time where new people are coming into your life that are going to show you that you are worthy of real love, not this conditional love that you've had to put up with for so long. Okay, and this always makes me feel like the Pisces energy for some reason. But we have Venus in Diom Chenin with the beauty of love lies in its wildness. Be daring and embark upon journeys with your dragon. I know Venus is rules over Taurus and Libra. I know, but for whatever reason, this just makes me feel very Pisces energy here. Right? Being wild and embarking on these journeys and letting yourself experience what is. So letting go. But there's also like this deep truth here, right? Connecting with your heart and your truth. And we were talking about that, finding your voice. Like that's the main thing here, is finding your voice and embracing your personal power. Sometimes embracing our personal power is non-action. Not feeling guilty for taking a rest or taking a break or taking a vacation. Tap into your talents, part of fortune. Yeah, so you're about to step into a very fortunate time in your life. Tap into your talents, but also give yourself to recuperate, to recover. It's a very powerful message. I'm getting tired by the second here. Like, what the heck? Look at this. We've got the void. Stop. Embrace winter, the great cosmic womb. Yeah, so especially with the hermit energy here, it's about coming into this place of solitude for a while. Not isolation, solitude. And I feel like that's what they're saying with the Star, Charon, and Turbo. Like, maybe if you've been attending your friendships, maybe it's okay to say, hey, you know what, send a group chat and just be like, look guys, I love you and I'm here for you. If you need anything, you can definitely reach out, but I'm taking the next 2 or 3 days to myself. Not because I don't love you, but because I got to reconnect with myself. And if they love you and they care about you, they're going to be like, cool, we're here for you. Let us know. Whatever happens, we got your back, right? Like, they're going to be there for you. But it's okay to say that you need that time and space. If you don't tell them, though, they might not know. So, and they might even know, like you might be, especially if you're Pisces, like we Pisces are famous for just disappearing. We'll go and hang out with friends, but we'll be the one in the corner in the back, all by ourselves, reading a book or sitting in nature or like playing with whatever, you know? And it's not that we don't love being with our friends. It's just like, that's just, we naturally gravitate to places to be alone. Even when we're with people we love, we still naturally gravitate to places of being alone. Like Pisces loves being alone. Like it's not anything. They want to be surrounded by people who love them. Yes. But they also don't want to feel like they have to entertain. Otherwise they won't get love, right? A Pisces needs to know that they're going to be loved regardless, which is why that I feel like I got called to say that makes me feel like Pisces energy. But it's also like when your friends love and respect you, and you can tell them like, hey, I need some me space. Like, and they're not going to take it personally. They're not going to be like, what, you don't love me anymore? Like, oh, you can't entertain me? Like, I have to entertain you, but you can't entertain me. You know, they're not going to make you feel guilty for it. The people who love you. Right? Yeah, cracked open. Rock bottom. Surrender to the alchemy of life. This is because you just got cracked open. Like something happened here where it was like you literally hit rock bottom and the seed of your heart cracked open. It may have been cracked open many, many, many times. But think about if it already has been cracked open many times. Think about all those times it's been cracked open. It takes a while to recover from that, right? It takes a while to regain your balance again. And so this is that time to really step into the void and to know that this is a period of recuperation from something that was very tragic or very hard. Oh, okay, so this almost fell off the deck. And below that, we have jump in. Andromeda energy, adventure, say yes to change. Yeah, so don't be afraid to go on an adventure for yourself. Don't be afraid to get out and say yes to yourself, yes to change. Things are shifting for you. Let yourself change. And then underneath that, you're not for everyone. Embrace your weirdness, face your true north. Yeah, so again, it's if they're gonna get mad or if they're gonna walk away just because you need some you time, if you're not entertaining them, like remember, they're not for you. People who love you and care about you, they're gonna appreciate that you had the courage to say, hey, I just don't have it in me to entertain. I have to take care of myself. No. What just happened? We've got the Star Maiden with rest. What? Look, I cannot make up this energy at all. This has been a very clear energy. Like, I was fine, and then I got to your pile, and I'm like, whoa. Like, I feel like all my energy just went out the wayside, which is why I'm kind of doing your reading fast. Like, it's not to jip you on your reading. It's just that Source is saying there's a very clear message here. You need time. So instead of giving you an hour-long reading like the other two where it's like Source is saying, we need to get you this message right now. Right now, this is what you need. This is how you find your voice and embrace your power. Your personal power is by taking time to integrate this huge transformation that you went through rest. Rest is going to be super beneficial to you. You've had a super breakthrough on your journey, okay? Yeah, visionary, Emotep. And I feel like also as you rest, you're going to be given creative ideas for moving forward that are going to greatly benefit you in a way that maybe you felt non-creative, disconnected from your creativity. Like maybe you felt like you just weren't getting what you needed, whatever it was, but that's going to shift for you now. Okay, I do feel like there's one more that wants to come out here. For pile 3 Source. Yeah, I felt like so Crow Spirit with co-create with Spirit, and also feels like this is a direct message from Source. Like regardless of this being the ultimate inner transformation, that's already happened for you, pile 3. Something here was huge. And now the best way for you to integrate it is to embrace the void. You're making space for the new to come in. But if you don't make space for the space, then that space will never grow to allow new things to come in. Sing your own song. Canary Spirit. Yeah, and being brave enough to ask for what you need. You may need assistance right now. Maybe you need to take a bath, or maybe you need to take extra time in meditation. Whatever it is you need, take that time and space for yourself. Maybe you need a couple of weeks off. Maybe you need a week off or whatever, a couple of days. You know, it doesn't have to be super huge. Maybe it is super huge, whatever it is, right? Okay, this gives us a better picture of why. And this makes sense with 12th house and Pisces energy, the house of addiction, right? It says addict helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. And the shadow is compromises integrity and honesty, allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. So I do feel like this is something like the void is scary. It's scary for everybody, right? Like it's not just you, it's scary for everybody. We make space from our traumas and we're healing from our past traumas. We make that space. The first thing we want to do is to fill that space with something. And so that's what I feel like you're doing. And that's the addiction, is to fill that space with something. And so what Source is saying is to move away from trying to fill that space with something and take space for yourself, okay? Bottom of the deck, we have Pioneer. Passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. And the shadow is a compulsive need to keep moving on. Yeah, so again, the compulsive need to keep moving on. While you're not moving, you are moving on, but you just keep moving, right? And I feel like that goes hand in hand with the addict here. And so we want to come back into this place of passion, which is a place of alignment for you, pile 3. Very clear message here today. I feel like I want to get this one first. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can. It could be really easy for us to falter on our journey because we're not seeing things with our 2 eyes, right? We're like, oh, but I don't see it with my 2 eyes, so how is it going to be real? But it's not about seeing it with our 2 eyes. It's about feeling it in our hearts. And that comes from self-belief. And that's what Source is saying here. Believe in yourself and good things are coming for you. Believe in yourself and believe that you are allowed to rest. You're not going to get in trouble for resting. You're not going to get in trouble for just taking space and time. And if someone tries to make you feel bad for that, remind them that you are in charge of yourself. And if they don't want to rest, that doesn't mean that their chaos is yours to hold, right? You can just give it right back to them. If you don't want to rest, that's on you. But I'm resting. And if you don't want to say anything and you want to go gray rock method, then grab a pair of noise canceling headphones and let that be your barrier for a while. That's okay. You know, I've done that too. And that, it really does work. I tell you, I went from having wireless earbuds to getting a pair of over-ear headphones. They're not wireless, but even still, like I let them be a boundary for me, and they help so much. So, you know, using that to your advantage, even if you don't have anything playing, like just sometimes it's enough to keep that safe space, the womb, right? Taurus. So we have trust, patience, and sensuality. Yeah, so having patience right now and trusting in the process, trusting in the space that's being made. And fire, we have Aries, Leo, Sag with confidence. I don't know what that is, but cool. Confidence, optimism, passion, and bravery. This is something that's going to take a lot of bravery for you to pour into, because it's different than that active nothing than active doing, right? Like active doing is something you can fall into, but active nothing feels scary, but still as productive as active doing. In fact, more times it's even more so productive, okay? Yeah, shadow period, proceed with caution, okay? We're not trying to rush to some other result or some new result here. We're trying to integrate what has shifted and changed for us along the journey. So again, I was not trying to jip your reading at all. It's just that the message has been very clear moving along. Like Source is saying, it's time for you to rest. But let's go ahead and look at your card here, and I'm going to read this from the book and see what it says. Singled, yeah. This is a very powerful energy here. I feel like you have faced an incredibly strong opponent. That's what I feel here. And we have, look, the number 22, which is trust the process. For me, the number 22 is trusting in the process, okay? So let's see what Singold has to say here. It says, the dragon Singold arrives when we need to take notice of ourselves and acknowledge the old negative patterns. He asks us, well, hold on, I can't see, my dreadlock is in the way. He asks us to recognize the old emotional blocks. These can be anger, fear, maybe hatred, for example. He has these words to say about gratitude. Review your life to date and find things to be grateful for, to rejoice in who you are. Acknowledge the fears, envy, guilt, or anger within. Accept the niggling doubts. Admit they are present, and for they are a part of you, the whole you. But you have no need to dwell here, for they are old and no longer relevant to your future life. Instead, feel the pure joy of being alive. Seek the positive in your existence here on earth. Uncover things to rejoice about. Do that which lifts your heart, that deep inner smile that comes from the depths within. Seek an amulet to act as a reminder. This can be an object small enough to carry or wear daily. Set the intention within it. When this totem is on your person, so it reminds you that all is as it should be, for you are learning the lessons of gratitude. You are exactly where you should be now. Set the intention that guides you to stay focused on being joyous and gracious. Think, chant, write, or sing happiness, peace, laughter, but above all, gratitude. Put it to music and dance with it. Do it daily, numerous times daily, until joy and gratitude become an intrinsic part of your everyday life. Practice it until it resides in your heart and settles a new pattern of being who you truly are. Go forward with love deep in your heart. Yeah, so it's just coming back to that space of gratitude. And so maybe in the space of rest, taking time to practice gratitude and letting that fill your heart with love and joy. But I do feel like there's this energy, especially since you chose the solar plexus chakra gemstone, the yellow jasper, right? Our solar plexus is about our inner fire being stoked. Well, it's really difficult for us to stoke our internal fire, but sometimes we overstoke it and it becomes a raging fire within us. And I feel like right now it's about calming that raging fire and coming into a place of peace and alignment. And when you come into that place of peace and alignment, then you're able to allow that space to be, I don't want to say taken up, but I don't really see a better way of saying this, but to be taken up by the blessings that are meant for you in this moment, okay? Whatever they may be. Whether that's monetary, the gift of peace, the gift of renewal, the gift of rebirth, the gift of knowledge, the gift of opening up to your gifts, right? Whatever it is, it's like opening up to what's meant to come in right now, but not filling it up because you feel like you have to. You have to constantly be on the go. Right now you're in a period of creating with your spirit and with source, and that requires a lot of space and time and silence and nurturing in order for that to be fruitful and to have that sense of cultivation. I feel like something is crawling on my neck. It's weird. A weird feeling right now. Okay. So remember that your truth right now is taking space and integrating what it is that you've recently learned and overcome, because that was a very difficult opponent or a very difficult situation. And this rest is not you being lazy. It is something that you desperately need, okay? So this is what I see for you here today, pile 3. If you felt like this was your reading, leave the little Z's, like the sleeping emojis, down below and say, I let go of my need to be busy and embrace rest as an active motion for myself, my well-being, and my health moving forward. And if it resonated with you or spoke to your soul, please you're welcome to share your story in the comments if you would like to, and subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to support this channel further, discover the tools that were used in the reading today, you'll find all the links below in the description box in order to do so. So with that, I would like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, my spirit guides, for coming together and giving us this powerful message. And with that being said, until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye. Hello, Purple Heart Club. If you guys are a part of the Purple Heart Club, leave the purple heart down below. But this is for you, just as a little thank you for those of you that spend the entire reading with me. It's truly an investment of your time, and I really appreciate that. But I thought that I would get some information from the Answer Oracle today for you. And these readings are specifically for those of you that spend that time with me. This energy is directly relating to you, okay? So for my Purple Heart Club today's source, what would you like to share with them? For the Purple Heart Club, what message do you have for them today in regards to this reading, or just where they're at on their journey? What message do you have for my Purple Heart Club? Interesting. One more, they said. Message for the Purple Heart Club source. Thank you. Okay, the bottom of the deck, we've got gossip. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to put this over here. And we're going to see what all we have. Courage, spendthrift show, and peace. Okay. So there's somebody here in your energy that's been gossiping, and they've been spreading rumors about you. They've been slandering your name. They've been telling everybody and anybody who will listen. If somebody's going to stop and listen to their story, they're going to share as much as they can about you, about how you're some terrible person. And I feel like I don't need to tell you what all they're saying, because I feel like you already know that this person does not have good intentions when it comes to you. You are just like a placeholder for them right now. They want attention. They're mad. They're jealous. They're upset. Like, they feel like they deserve something else. They feel like they deserve a better life. They don't understand why you get to have that life. They don't understand why you get to experience the freedoms that you're experiencing. Like, none of it makes sense to them. There's nothing that's going to make it make sense to them. There's nothing that you can say, and I feel like you know that. And so there's something here where, in regards to this person, this gossip card represents a person. What source is saying is that you've moved on from them. You've taken a brave step forward on your journey, and it's been incredibly scary, but it's been necessary for you. And right now, it's very important for you not to spend your money, like save your money, hold on to it. It's not for the long run or anything like that. It's just that what you have, keep to yourself for the time being in order for you to prepare for the next journey, because there's something here that's shifting for you with show. I feel like you were about to be seen, or you're about to go on a journey, or you're about to travel somewhere new, and things are going to come in like a windfall for you. So success, love, happiness, peace, like all these things. But right now it's about maintaining your peace. And for whatever reason, I feel like every time you spend money, this person is telling everybody, oh, look at how they're spending money. Look at how they're doing whatever the heck that they want. And they're making sure that I'm living in misery, or they're making sure that my life is terrible, and this, that, and the other. And I feel like you really have nothing to do with the way this person is living. Like, they have their own choices and their own worries and their own concerns, but they're making it like it's all your fault. And again, it's not worth dwelling on, but I do feel like that's something that Source is saying here. Like, this person is so concerned about where you're putting your money at, what you've got going on with your money. And, you know, I've said this in many of my readings, you know, regardless if someone shares their expenditures and their money, what they earn with us, that does not mean that we owe them that ourselves, right? Like, money is a very private matter, but it has turned into the most talked about subject wherever we go, at least here in the United States. Like, it is the most talked about subject. Like, everybody talking about how much they make per hour, how much they have in their accounts, how much they're spending, what they're doing here, what they're doing there. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if you bought yourself a cake because you wanted a little celebration for something, and they're telling everybody like, oh, see, they went and they bought themselves a cake, but they didn't include me. Like, how unkind of them, right? This is what they do to me all the time. But no one takes time to ask you like, hey, what's the cake for? You know, that just basically says that those people, they're never going to understand you. They're never going to see you, and they're never going to understand the value that you are, the valuable person that you are, because they like the gossip. I can't remember. I was having this conversation with my AI assistant. It's so funny that I was talking about this, but excuse me. I don't talk to them often about these things, but it was just something that was on my mind, and I needed someone to bounce an idea off of. And I was like, you know, it's almost like the only thing that those people show up for is the gossip itself. And AI said exactly, they're there for their own personal drama show. And I was like, oh, so it's like the days of our lives. And then my AI said, yeah, it's like lights, camera, action. And I was cracking up so hard because I was not expecting the AI to make a joke, but it totally made a joke, and I just thought that was so funny, right? It was just something I had on my mind, and I was like, I needed to talk to somebody about it. Nobody was around, so I was talking to AI about it. And so I feel like that's the thing. It's like you have that same kind of energy in your life right now where it's like somebody is using you as a means to garner attention, to garner empathy or sympathy. Let's say sympathy, not empathy. They're trying to garner empathy. They're trying to control how people view them right now because they want to be seen a certain way. They want to be seen as the hero, as the good person. They want to be seen as like, oh, I'm better than you, Purple Heart Club. I don't do the things that you do. You leave everybody in shambles, and you don't care about the danger or the damage that you leave in your wake. And really, this person is actually that person that destroys things and leaves a lot of damage behind them, and they don't want to take accountability for that, and that's fine. Not our business, right? We have to let them dig their own holes. And so I feel like what's happening though is like this, there's something that's gonna shift for you, and as you come into peace, this is something that's really big. You're gonna be moving to a new country, or you're going to be moving to a new home, maybe a different city. With the show card, it feels like you're going somewhere though, right? And you're going to be super excited about it. Like there's something here, and it's going to put you in the spotlight for either your career or your business or your creative sense or what you're building. Whatever it is that you've been working on, you're going to be put in the spotlight, and you're going to be seen as somebody who has something worthwhile. You always have, but now it's like other people are noticing it. And so with this comes a sense of order and calmness, serenity and peace. And I feel like your finances are going to grow as well, for sure. That's something that's coming in. But right now, you need to come into a spendthrift mindset where it's like, save what you got right now. And, you know, like, unless it's a necessity, get your necessities. But it's, you know, like, if you can strip down to the bare minimums, do that, because that's gonna benefit you in the long run. And it's going to be worthwhile, but it's also not, this is like a boundary here. This feels like a boundary here for whoever this person is. Like maybe this is somebody who sees, like if it's in the office, right? Like if it's an office that you work at, like you bring in something new. Like they're always looking, what do you got new today? What do you got new today? Oh, you just bought that? Like, what do you got new today? And it's not like you're necessarily advertising it. I do feel like this is somebody who's super nosy, right? Like if you have packages that come in, this could be someone who opens your packages and they're like, oh, I thought it was mine, I thought I had my name on it, you know, like they're just trying to be casual about being nosy, but they're really just being nosy, and they're trying to figure out what you got. This could be family, this could be friends, this could be anybody, but they're just trying to speculate how much money you have and how much they can get from you. And I don't feel like they understand your situation right now because they don't care to know your situation. They only care to know what they can benefit from your situation. That's all they want right now. And that's why they're trying to gossip. And they're hoping that that gossip gets back around to you to make you feel guilty, to act a certain way towards them. And I feel like what they're missing is the fact that that gossip is getting back around to you and it's only making you mad and upset and even more distant. But they don't see it that way because they feel like if they had gossip get back around to them, then they would feel guilty and they would change. And so what Source is saying is just maintain your peace. Good things are coming. Abundance is coming. And there's something that's going to change here for you drastically moving forward. Keep pouring into your passions. And before you know it, there's something here that's going to switch in a very powerful way, okay? So this is what I see for you here today, Purple Heart Club. Again, this is a thank you. I appreciate you so much, and I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. Again, leave that purple heart down below so you can claim that you're part of that club, because these little extra readings are for you, for those of you that spend this entire reading with me, okay? So until next time, stay human. Bye.